Good evening. I'm Isidoro Nieto, President of Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees. This regular board meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Texas Open Meeting Act. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 3 business days prior to the meeting date. The time now is 5:32 p.m. and I will call this meeting to order. I will now begin the roll call. Mr. Ben Castillo?
Here.
Mr. Eddie Serna?
Here.
Mr. Mark de los Santos?
Here.
And myself, Mr. Nieto. Unfortunately, Coach Cuellar couldn't be here tonight, but I expect Mrs. Sustaita and Dr. Jaime to come in the next few minutes. Establishment of a quorum. Invocation, Dr. Rivera?
Yes, Mr. Trevino.
Thank you, sir. Let's bow our heads. Gentlemen, if you're wearing a hat, if you would just please remove it in reverence of the Lord. Heavenly Father, our Lord Jesus Christ, how great and mighty you are. There is no one like you. Thank you for the gift of life, health, family, friends, strength, and ability to work to provide for our families. Thank you for your faithfulness and protection over the lives of our students, staff, and families. We thank you for the blessing of entering a new year, a season of new opportunities, a season to draw closer to you in humility and reverence. Father, as is always our petition, we ask you to continue to bless and grant greater wisdom to our Superintendent, Dr. Richard Rivera, and our board. May your will be done in our board meetings. Bless our administrators, staff, and teachers with wisdom, integrity, patience, and the physical and mental strength to begin and finish the second half of the academic year very strong. Above all, bless our students with divine protection, physical and mental health, and providence. Father, we humbly bring before you our Mary Hope Middle School student, Naomi Hernandez, who finds herself in the midst of a health battle fighting for her life at the Children's Hospital in Corpus Christi. We pray for peace, strength, and love for her family and friends at this most difficult of times. You are our healer and deliverer. Nothing is impossible for you. May your perfect will be done. We ask you all this in your precious, glorious, and mighty name of Jesus. And everyone says, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Pledge of Allegiance, Dr. Rivera.
I'll call Mr. Buttermore.
Good evening. At this time, we'd ask everyone to please stand, place their right hand over their heart, and face the United States flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'd ask everyone to please remain standing, right hand over their heart, and face the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee. Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Butterman. We'll continue on with number 5. January 2026 School Board Recognition Month. Dr. Rivera or Mr. Robledo.
Yes. Mr. Carlos Robledo.
Dr. Rivera, Mr. Nieto, members of the board, January is School Board Recognition Month, and we want to take the time to acknowledge our board members for their service to our school district. Our school board members are responsible for ensuring the structure that provides a solid foundation for our school system. Board members are strong advocates for public education and are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and the public's expectations to the district. Following this year's theme, Our Future is Public, we commend our trustees as dedicated champions of public education, vital in bridging the needs of our school district with the aspirations of our community. On behalf of our superintendent, all of our departments and campuses, we present these tokens of appreciation. We'd like to start off by recognizing School Board President Isidoro Nieto, 12 years of service. He's not with us tonight, but let's recognize Vice President of the School Board, Armando Cuellar. Coach Armando Cuellar completed 8 years of service. Dr. Rodriguez is not here right now. Let's recognize him. Dr. Jaime Rodriguez has completed 11 years of service. We'd also like to recognize trustee Marcos de los Santos for 6 years of service. At this time, we would like to recognize trustee Jacqueline Sustaita, 6 years of service. Now recognizing trustee Ben Castillo, 4 years of service. Let's recognize recently completing his first year of service, board member Eddie Serna. And he is now present, so let's recognize Board Secretary Dr. Jaime Rodriguez, 11 years of service. Okay, Abel, we're gonna do these real quick. Hold on a second, Mindy, I gotta say one more. I got one more announcement. Also this weekend, the South Texas School Board Association recognized 2 of our board members, Mr. Isidoro Nieto, 12 years of service. And also recognized from the South Texas School Board for 11 years of service, Dr. Jaime Rodriguez. Okay. Thank you once again to our board members as we observe School Board Recognition Month. Let's give them a round of applause one more time.
Is that all the recognitions, correct?
Yes.
That's it.
All right. Let's continue on. First of all, thank you, Dr. Rivera, on behalf of the board for the award here. It's greatly appreciated from each board member. Ms. Sustaita, anything you want to say on that?
No, just thank you.
Dr. Jaime?
Thank you very much.
Mr. Ben Castillo?
Same, thank you very much.
Mr. Eddie Serra?
Same thing, thank you.
And Mr. Marcos de los Santos?
Same, thank you.
All right, let's continue on. Public comments.
We have one.
Okay. Mrs. Diana Garza, correct?
That's right.
I couldn't read the
No,
writing. that's
sorry,
why.
yeah.
That's okay. All right, Dr. Jaime will read you some information before you begin.
Okay, Mr. Garza, go ahead and identify yourself with your address, please.
Diana Garza, 1011 East 10th Street.
And pursuant to the Texas Open Meeting Act, the Board of Trustees may not deliberate on any comment made by a member of the public on a subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of this meeting. As per the Texas Attorney General, the scope of board discussion for a subject not part of the meeting agenda is limited to only a proposal by a board member to place the subject on a future board agenda. Specific factual information or recitation of existing policy may be furnished in response to inquiries, but the board shall not deliberate or decide regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with the notice of the meeting. Audience participation at a board meeting is limited to the portion of the meeting designated for that purpose. At all other times during a board meeting, the audience shall not enter into discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board unless recognized by the presiding officer. No public comment presentation shall exceed 3 minutes. Any disruptive behavior by any speaker may result in the speaker's removal from participation in the meeting. Please be mindful of using names or personally identifiable information, as there is no immunity from defamatory comments while participating in public comments. I'll start the timer, ma'am, when you start your presentation.
All right. So, good evening, Dr. Rivera, school board trustees, and being September is School Board Recognition Month, thank you for all that you do on those borrowed seats. You're there because you have a passion for the students and you have their best interest in mind, right? So for that, I thank you. So I know at the last meeting, there was a comment made by Sustaita that we needed more counselors. I thank all the counselors for all the work that they do. I was a counselor at an elementary school before Coronado decided to move me out. And I served as the only counselor for about 10 years with over 750 at times. And that was Mr. Aguilar at Sam Houston. And Ms. Sustaita was a teacher over there. When I did LPACing, part of the rotation, 504 referrals, and the list goes on. And I was able to do it. So with that being said, we have low enrollment. We don't need more counselors. We need the counselors to do their job, continue doing their job, the ones that are. There's many of them that have a strong work ethic and some that don't. Truth being said. Prime example, today I called, Friday I sent an email to a counselor and a social worker at a high school on the need for mental health intervention. And I asked that counselor and social worker to reach out to the parent. So I found out today that the counselor and the social worker were out on Friday. However, Monday, today, 4 o'clock, I checked in with a parent and they still had not called. Granted, the social worker I think is still out, but what about the counselor? So what if the counselor's out? We have head counselors and the principal is aware of that. So I'm very disturbed by that because you know what? We've had suicides before and we need to be serious about when it comes to mental health intervention. We need to do our jobs, a better job of communicating and making sure. My email was not acknowledged at all. Okay, so anyway, the next thing, truancy court, we are pushing, staff is pushing some students out by withdrawing them due to truancy instead of citing them and taking them to court, right, as the last option. There's principals that are real good at reaching out to me, and for that, I'm very grateful. They know who they are. They call me for assistance, and some don't. So with that being said, we should not be withdrawing students without executing everything we can in our power. And if citing is the last thing, then that should be executed, right? But we're not doing that. We have attitudes from an assistant principal, attendance clerk. What is the judge going to do? They're not going to do anything. Just order them to GD. And I've told them that's not your business. Your duty is to do your job and put the packet together, and I'm here to assist you. Not to worry about what the judge is going to do. The other thing is, Melva Segura, once again, there we are again with the same item posted. You know, wanting a settlement, wanting her pocket lined. So no, let the jury decide once again. And to all, Happy New Year, and I thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. All right, let's continue on. Superintendent's report. Dr. Rivera.
Yes, I have 8 slides. The first 4 will be discussed, and then we can have questions after the first 4. On page 2, we have the firm here in the audience. If you have questions for them, Carr, Riggs, and Ingram. Let me start with the fund balance. We have a fund balance of $71,109,000. For B, for child nutrition, we have $9 million. So the subtotal is $62 million. I'm rounding off. So on D, we have some assigned fund balance projects, the 9.1. So on E, the total is 52 million, almost 53 million, and it's a 90-day reserve. On page 3, again, this is preliminary audit data for 24-25 as of June 30th. It's under audit by Carr, Riggs, and Ingram, the auditors. They'll present next month. So they reviewed this information, and they gave me some input that I changed during the weekend. They gave me more information, so there was a little revision. So the figure they have given me for the general fund, now this is for 24-25, is 198 million. On B and C, on their report, they're going to show a minus of almost $10 million, and this is for construction projects and upgrades. On C, they're going to show a minus of 14 million plus other sources. So after these deductions, the 3-month reserve after deficit payment is still intact at 52 million. So I'm going to go over B and C on the following pages. So on page 4, this is where you find the 9 million. The 9 million, it was a minus again. This was where it was spent. Board approved construction projects and upgrades from fund balance as of June 30th. And again, on function 610, we have the majority of the expenditures, which is the Weslaco High, Weslaco East baseball, softball fields, elementary playgrounds, the billboard conversion, the stadium lighting, and the fuel tanks, which is 6.6 of the total 9. The bottom part, and again, this is under the audit, again, from the auditors, and they'll be here tonight if you have questions for them. But they've told us this, that the 1.3 million is the expended part of remaining income from prior year 2024 bond construction fund. A and B, as per them, the auditors, they're stated to us, these expenditures are expected to occur as Weslaco ISD carries out the planned construction projects for which the bonds were issued. And on B, as per the external auditors, this expenditure should continue rising until the approved projects are completed and or the funds are depleted from these funds. So that's where you have the minus 9. So again, if you look back on page 2, I'm sorry, on page 5, there's a minus 9.9, and on C, there's a minus 14. When they present next month, they're just going to give us the minuses. They're not going to explain where the money went. This is where tonight I'm explaining where B and C, where those projects went. On page 5, this is the significant expenditures from the original budget, plus other sources paid from fund balance as of June. And again, they'll present in February. The big item, the 14 million, this is what happened. This was a salary increase from previous years that were not included in the original budget. These were the pay raises, the 14 million. What I can explain here is if the previous CFO, who is no longer with us, had he acknowledged and verified these figures, the amount of pay raises would have been lower. That year we gave to the teachers and staff administrators $2,500. We also gave 4% to everyone else. We gave the stipend of $1,000 in December and $1,000 in May. Again, had I known these figures were there, I would probably have reduced this in half because it's important for our staff to get the money, and they're well compensated. So they're the real winners on this. They're the ones that got the additional monies, and for the most part, they did not leave the district. So this is where the 14 million went. Again, the previous CFO was not up front, and he's no longer here. So this is where the 14 million went. It went again towards pay raises. These are the 4 slides that I have. If you have any questions for the auditors or for me, they're here to answer your questions. Mr. Nieto.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera. I'll begin on the left with Mrs. Sustaita. Any questions on the presentation from Dr. Rivera?
I don't have any questions at this time about this. I'll wait for the item on the agenda.
Okay. Dr. Haim?
Just with the 3-month reserve, Dr. Rivera, that's still going to give us the 3-month
Yes.
rainy day fund that
Yes.
for
Yes.
the and that's
As of the completion of the audit.
and that's unassigned funds.
Yes.
Those.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Ben Castillo?
Yes, I have a couple. So this is to the auditors. Based on your work over the last couple of years,
How would you describe the district's overall financial condition today? Stable, stress, or trending towards concern? And why?
Over the last couple of years, I think a lot of the districts were in a peculiar situation where they received a lot of ESSER funding. So that sort of distracted from the regular, normal operations. Over the last few years, the fund balance has been pretty healthy. I think that's what we have presented in the past couple of years. If this number remains unchanged, again, because it's still under audit, there could be adjustments. We're still working through it. Like Mr. Rivera, Dr. Rivera represented, it does support the 3-month reserve. We kind of take the annual expenses and divide that by 12 to determine the amount. I just wanted to make that clear, and that's only in your general fund. So in our opinion, a 3-month reserve is considered a healthy reserve. Obviously, what you do going forward, on how you're budgeting for your revenues and expenses and how you are adjusting throughout the year is what is going to make the difference, right? And unfortunately, we audit after the fact, so you've already made the decisions. So I think how you handle this opportunity is what will determine where the district can head going forward.
All right. Are the fund balance numbers being presented consistent with what you've seen historically, or do any of the recent changes stand out as unusual?
Like I said, we're still doing our audit procedures. That is an area that we still need to cover because we do need to make sure the other areas are finalized as far as audit procedures to make sure that there's no prior period adjustments that would impact the fund balance. So as of this point, we have not encountered any misstatements, let's put it that way, from prior year fund balances.
Are there any material variances between what the board approved and how funds were actually spent that we should clearly understand as a board?
Can you repeat the question?
Are there any material variances between what the board approved and how funds were actually spent that we should clearly understand as a board?
We have not encountered any misstatements that were unsupported or were significantly different from what was approved by the board.
Okay, from your perspective, I'm going to ask you this question. You heard Dr. Rivera's presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you see the biggest weaknesses, if any, in how the budget was built versus how it was executed?
Well, it's not a good business practice overall, right, to amend budgets close to year end. That should be done periodically. You should be reviewing what's coming in and what you've already allocated to expenditures to see if you need to adjust those out so that you don't end up with deficits. So that is the main issue that we're seeing this year, right? That it was, the amendments were not done until after year end. And as a matter of fact, with the current numbers that we have, even doing that, it looks like you will end up with a deficiency, right? From budget to actual. You should end up with positive numbers. It looks like in one of the functions you will end up with a negative amount. So we will be reporting on that. We need to evaluate that and consider what type of deficiency needs to be reported.
Okay, I'm almost done. I got 4 or 5 more left. So in your professional judgment, did you encounter any transactions that appeared irregular, unsupported, or inconsistent with normal district operations?
As of the moment, we have not. Yeah.
Did anything you reviewed rise above a management or budgeting issue and approach potential fraud, misrepresentation, or intentional concealment?
Not specifically.
I know you're not done with your audit.
Right.
But were there any findings, or are there going to be any findings or near findings that cause heightened concern, even if they did not meet the threshold for a formal finding?
Again, we need to finish the audit, and then we will evaluate in context as a whole, what are the different findings. But even if it doesn't merit an actual, let's say, material weakness or significant deficiency or non-compliance that needs to be reported, we still identify any control deficiencies or improvement points, even minor things that we give them as oral comments. We do discuss those with management. That is our practice.
Okay, so for context, you work for the board, not the administration or anybody.
We're independent,
You're
yes.
independent. So I'm going to ask you a question. There's a
Yes.
forensic audit on the agenda. I still have not made a decision yet. I'm still kind of going back and forth, so I'm going to ask you a question. Based on what you've seen, do you believe a forensic audit is necessary to answer the board's concerns, or would it likely confirm what is already known?
I prefer not to answer that. Yeah.
Well,
That is a decision that you need to make. I will tell you that the purpose of our audit is completely different from forensic audit. We do look at compliance issues. We look at materialities, which in a forensic audit is completely different. So it really it's two separate things. If you're expecting that financial audit means that there's no fraud, that is not the case. It's actually on the opinion, right? So that's...
All right, I got two more questions.
Okay.
All right. What specific indicators would you normally expect to see before recommending a forensic audit in a school district setting? Now I'm just asking you as our auditors.
Well, if we identify fraud, then we would report it. We would have to report it in our procedures.
Are those indicators present here, partially present, or not present at all?
We have not encountered any such matters.
Okay, thank you.
Good questions, Mr. Castillo. Mr. Ericerda?
Just for transparency, I guess, for us and for the public, explain the differences, what you just described about financial audit and forensic audit. Just give us a layman's terms and just a better understanding of that.
Sure. Our opinion says that we're auditing the financial statements as they are presented. Financial statements have to comply with certain rules. We look at that, and we look at the different levels. You have government-wide fund, without getting too technical. We look at those items, and we do apply materiality, and we determine would those, our opinion would support, do those financials need to be, are they materially stated? So there could be minor misstatements that we find along the way. I mean, if it doesn't meet the materiality thresholds, we might not bring them to management's attention unless it's an issue that we feel they should, get ahead of and correct going forward. So that is the purpose of a financial audit, to ensure that the financials are fairly stated. The forensic audit, you're looking out for fraud. So I believe the district has gone through it before, so you understand, they look at everything looking for actual fraud. There's no threshold there, right? They look it's very more intense, more invasive.
Mr. De Los Santos?
Yes, I have a few questions.
Okay.
Okay. And then a few questions and then comments. Since you're already up there, I'm going to ask you first, are you comparing the budget expenditures that the board has been receiving monthly? Or are you doing what you just stated, where you're doing samplings and verifying categories and budgeted amounts and expenses? Because that was kind of the concern when we're bringing up the forensic audit. We were talking about our budget, our monthly budget expenditure reports, and also the proposed budget that was brought to the board at the beginning. Is it your role right now currently to review that and review those meetings and review what's being presented versus what was in the system? Is that what you're doing right now?
No, it would not be in such detail. We would look at board approvals, and we do look at, that it was, the amendments were approved.
Right.
So that's what we look at. We do look through projects, through, bids, We look at that, ensure that they have board approval.
Right.
But do we look at each of the months and each of the expenses? No, that's beyond the scope of
Okay.
our financial audit.
Only because that was one of the concerns. The next question I have for you all is, at any time, did any employees during this process make any outcries of concern about the validity of the proposed budget that went to the board, or concerns that the budgets that were initially put in were, like, was there any outcries at all from any employees to you telling you that they were concerned about information, like about the information in the system and the budget? Was it yeah, that's one question.
I think just the estimates that are done for ADA,
Okay,
that was
A
brought to
concern.
our attention, so,
okay.
right.
On the ADA and the funding and the amounts. Number 3, did the district have reports ready for you? Or was there a delay?
There's a big delay.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking is just to confirm, because the staff wasn't present. The staff was removed from that department. That's why I wanted to make sure I stated that. And then they were put in late, and they had to work around the clock and through Christmas to get you some data.
Right.
So I just wanted to confirm that out loud. My other questions are for local staff that are here, just for clarity. Can I proceed?
Correct.
The next one is, it's like I said, this one would be just for transparency, clarification, and for validation on behalf of our community staff and taxpayers. My first question is for Ms. Solano. The 2024-2025 budget was stated by the CFO and the superintendent, right? That 2024-2025 budget was used to develop the 25-26 budget, okay? That's what was stated. So before this year's budget came to the board for a vote, I wanted to ask you that within your job descriptions, your duties, and assigned responsibilities, did you hear directly, read, or receive notification of accusations or concerns raised by high-level employees responsible for budget development alleging unethical financial behavior, fraudulent behavior, manipulation of financial statements, intentional understatement of expenses in the 25-26 proposed budget, and that the board, the community, and the taxpayers were not receiving trustworthy and accurate financial data? You can simply say yes, no, or decline to answer.
Not directly, sir.
You didn't hear it directly?
Not directly.
Okay. The same question, Mr. Buttermer? Did you hear anything of that? Do you want me to reread it, or?
No, I think I can answer your question. So,
Okay.
Mr. De Los Santos, anything that would come in was directly turned back to the CFO to get verification with his numbers.
Okay. Mr. Aguilar, I have the same question for you. Do you need me to read to read it, or you?
No, sir. So anything that was brought, can you hear me? Anything that was brought to the attention of administration, it was discussed with our cabinet level, and we discussed it on there and discussed everything when it was brought back to the CFO.
Okay. The next question I have is for Ms. Where's she at? Rodriguez. Hi, ma'am. I know that you're working with the budget department, correct? And you're also on the presentations for the finances, correct?
Yes, sir, I am.
I had the question for you, and Carl Riggs is here too. Carl Riggs also did our report prior to the 24-25 school year, last year, okay?
Yes, correct.
What was the fund balance, the ending fund balance? What was the fund balance at the start of last year? Do you know that?
At the start of 23-24? I'm sorry.
At the start of 24-25, what was the
23-24,
fund balance?
okay.
You're gonna have to take one of those, sir. I'll tell you here, I have a page from the Carl Riggs report, okay? It was 85,519,797,
That's correct.
okay? In the presentation that Dr. Rivera just showed us, he showed us that the beginning fund balance currently right now is 71,109,255. If you subtract those two figures, and I put that on the second page for my fellow trustees, okay? If you subtract those two figures, that amount is exactly the same amount as the salary overage, all right? And what I want to do is just identify that for my fellow trustees and our community, okay, that salaries is a recurring expense. Just because the year changes doesn't mean it goes away, okay? If you give contracts, you're going to see it again, okay, and it carries over, all right? And that has been the topic of discussion since July. And that's the reason that I was asking for a forensic audit, because as soon as I saw that in June, and I brought it up to the attention, we called the special board meeting July 2025, because at that time is when you see that your fund balance is dropping drastically, okay? And it's a recurring debt, And then you're marching your school district toward state intervention if you don't take appropriate actions and start taking proactive measures. Kind of like what you just stated to them. That if that slide right there doesn't change, it's gonna still continue to have an impact because salaries don't go away if you give out contracts, okay? The other thing I wanted to ask as well too, and since Carl Riggs is here, last year, I wanted to ask a question. In your report, the last one that you did, the CFO put the statement in there for the current school year, his plan. It was November 15th, 2024. And in that statement, he put there that he had, his plan for the 24-25 school year was to continue to reduce staffing levels across the district and to continue to reduce expenses so that he can maintain the general fund and possibly see a 2.8% decrease in expenses from $199 million to $197 million. That was November 15th, 2024, okay? Before spring, when then the board was advised to give out raises and stipends. Okay, his statement was, the CFO's, right, that's not here right now. He had a plan, okay, and it was the right one. So I'm asking Dr. Rivera, what was, since you mentioned him, what was the change? Why did he completely do a 360 and support the district's initiative to give out millions in taxpayer dollars in stipends, which are not based on any type of performance, other than retention and to show up, while no other district was doing that? Every district was downsizing, consolidating, and saving expenditures. And then on top of that, we gave raises. That report is online, okay, under the financial report. So that's a kind of concern and a question I have because we never had a chance to ask him, and he's not here to say it, but he did put it on paper. November 15, 2024. You'll see that he had a plan. Do you have any comment about that?
The plan was not implemented because you see on page 5, the 14 million that were there, he led us to believe the money was there in the original budget. And because of that, we gave the raises. And again, that was, every time we would meet with him, he would say, these are the figures. So.
But in June 2025, he presented, and that's the documents that I showed the entire board, he put in there that figure. When the proposed budget was coming, he put in there that there was a deficit, which you consistently denied since then up until now.
He said many things that didn't come out true. Bottom line is what happened.
What I want to state just for my fellow trustees and the community is those documents are signed and approved and viewed by multiple people. So, and I showed everyone there, and it's online still. It's there. He did put it there in June.
He gave us figures that were not correct.
And you know what, Mr. Dos Santos, good points, but a lot of times if Dr. Rivera and the cabinet don't have factual information, they don't have the proper information, you know, and they bring us the information to us and we make decisions.
Well, what I'm saying, President Nieto, is that Dr. Rivera showed us one thing on a slide,
right,
and the individual in our packets put a totally different information. Do you understand?
Right.
So it's not like he showed you the wrong thing because he didn't present that slide. Dr. Rivera did.
Okay.
There's a difference there. He put it in the same packet. While he was presenting his slide, in your packets was the proper information and showing the overage. Okay? So the argument of, well, he gave me the wrong information, no, he submitted the right information. Presented was the wrong one.
Okay.
No.
And those are in recorded meetings. June 2025.
Dr. Rivera?
The slide that I presented was information that he gave to me.
Correct.
So he was the CFO, and staff and I questioned him, and he would have answers for everything. So, but again, at the very end, we could not defend what he was doing, and this is what happened to him.
The main thing is that the board has been told multiple things. I still have more questions. Construction costs. Board approved construction costs, but they were brought to the board by the administration. There's multiple presentations where Dr. Rivera went into detail about how we're going to have surplus to pay for these construction projects and to use savings. If you look at 21 through 23, these board members did a lot of work in putting together that fund balance to provide job security for all our staff, okay? And that has now been depleted because we were told that money was going to be put back, that 10 million. We were told that there wasn't a payroll deficit. The whole time, there's no payroll deficit in 24, 25. That was the stance. And my whole point here to the trustees tonight, because the questioning the Weaver audit was brought up, is that you're wasting valuable time. 8 months have already gone by. It's a 20-day report that will verify and make sure that estimates are there, And then they'll also, and you have whistleblowers that said that these figures were there. Okay, you have whistleblowers that, and the only reason I'm gonna say this is allegedly, there's a level 1 and level 2 grievance before the board, before this year's budget came to the board. Allegedly, there's a level 1 and level 2 grievance where they told administration that there was that type of terminology, financial manipulation, not proper figures, etc. And yet nobody brought it to the board, at least not to my knowledge, because we never talked about it. That never came to the board. And during those grievances for the public, that is like a court hearing, okay? It's a small court hearing where the staff member has their attorneys there, and so does the district, and there's administrative staff, and yet nobody thought what the highest, most important individual in our school district, the only one that can actually do the budgeting and creates the budgets, is saying this, and nobody thought, let's take it to the board. And now we have wasted valuable time for us to pivot and start making adjustments, and we have spent millions and millions of taxpayer dollars, okay?
Well, there was
on false data.
There was been on salaries.
Salaries, pet projects, things like that, they were all based on surplus. But spending on salaries, but then jeopardizing people's job security, sir, is not the answer. Just like the presentation as well that's on here. If you rezone, I'm gonna tell my fellow trustees, if you rezone right now, you're gonna lose a bunch of kids. If you would do a forced rezone. Any superintendent in the valley will tell you not to do that because you're gonna lose staff, especially in your situation right now.
Everybody rezones. All districts rezone.
Second, if you sell your land, where are you gonna buy it? The taxpayers will take a loss in the millions if you sell that property right now. And first, you don't even know, it's not additional revenue because you don't know if anybody's gonna buy it.
I'm not there yet in the presentation.
Yes, but I'm just getting a head start because those are not answers to our problems.
Yes,
She just gave you the answers right now.
I gave you answers.
And I'll continue, but that's fine, I'll wait till my agenda item. And I gave you the documents there that show the figures.
I have a question. On this 14,410,542 million that we took out of fund balance for salary.
Yes.
How are we gonna cover that so we don't take that out of fund balance this year and next year and the year after that?
That's part of the presentation, the rest of it.
Okay.
Okay. Any final comments? Mrs. Daika?
Been wiggling in my chair over here. Ultimately, we, the board, are responsible and are going to be held accountable to the community for the funds. It makes me very upset and disappointed to see this because I always had faith that they're giving us the information correctly. And since December, when all this things started happening, it's very stressful. Not just for us as a board, I'm sure for the community, the staff, and it's very disheartening, but we are held accountable. And just like we're held accountable, we need to hold the people who are responsible accountable. And I always look at the policies, and I remember reading, because people are scared to speak up. They are. Everyone tells me, don't say it's me that I told you, don't say, or it's retaliation. I get it. I work for the district. I know what you mean. But there's a policy that says here, it's in policy, I have it right here in front of me. It's the DGBA, the one that we use, the policy for complaints, and it says informal process. The board encourages employees to discuss their concerns with their supervisor, principal, or other appropriate campus or district administrator. And we always do say that. Well, talk to the principal, talk to Dr. Rivera. We encourage that. By the time someone comes to us as board members, it's because they already did, they already tried, it's their last resort, no one's listening to me, please help me. By the time they come to us, they already tried going through. Or maybe they just gave up and said, no, I don't want to. But firsthand now, after this went down in December, I've gotten to talk to people, I'm sure you guys have too, and I hear it firsthand. They knew, but they didn't tell you, and that's what upsets me. That's what's upsetting. We know what happened. Okay, there's something wrong, they didn't give us the right numbers. But who knew? Who didn't tell us? Because if you don't care about us and how we look, you're doing it to yourselves too. Because we're all part of the same community. And if I'm not saying you did, but according to things that I just want everybody to be transparent and truthful and honest. And that's all I'm asking for. We're all accountable. And that's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Daika. Any more comments? Mr. Los Santos?
No, I think I already made my point as far as, I don't know if Dr. Villa's going to go over the rezoning, and I'll wait till is he going to continue with the slides? or-
Yes.
Go ahead. That way, I'll save my comments for after
Okay.
the remaining slides.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Rivera, you continue with your superintendent's report?
Yes.
Okay.
On page 6, again, these are challenges, 25, 26, 26, 27. For next year, A, there are no new state monies. We're concerned on B, the loss of enrollment resulting in a reduced ADA, and right now it's 250 students. As your superintendent, I'm concerned about vouchers for next year and virtual schools. Right now, there are 25 voucher schools that have been approved in the Valley. Staff and I are concerned about the increased pay for substitutes. On E, we're concerned about the increased health insurance cost. We have safety and security cost increases for the safety of our students. On G, I reported last month that there were 29 positions through federal funds that were going to be cut, and now through recent developments, there are just 14. We have confirmation that Gear Up and ACE will continue. And through all of this, the property taxes will not be increased, and we are among the lowest tax rates in Hidalgo County. On page 7, I'm explaining what we're doing to reduce the budget. Since the school year started, we have seen through the reduced enrollment, we have seen through, there's some slots that we do not need, so we've not hired for those vacancies, have not been replaced, and I can say that staff will not lose their jobs. Again, by this attrition, we saved about $2 million for this school year from this budget, and those $2 million will not be in the new year's budget, next year's budget. There's again reductions and increased revenues. There's sale, and it's on tonight's agenda, the sale of school property that will increase revenues. We're selling the Ag Farm to the city of Weslaco for $1.5 million, and it's on your agenda for approval. The other ones is available real estate that we can consider selling, again, to bring in additional revenues. These will not be sold until the board approves these, but the land that's here is not being used at all. There was a section by Bridge that the city said belonged to them. After further review by the attorney, it belongs to us. So again, what's here is land that's not being sold. It's been there forever. It's just there. So again, the board will decide if you want to go ahead and sell this property, but it's property that's there that's not being used. So if it's not being used, we can consider selling this, and that will increase the revenues. The last slide that I have is that all districts do rezoning as needed. Last year, we had some rezoning for Margot, for Ibarra, and for Gonzales. This year, we're looking at 3 schools, Margot, Raul Gonzalez, and Ibarra. You have the zoning there. It's going from Margot from 1,116 to 1,000, and we just don't rezone for no reason at all. And the reasons are on the bottom. These schools, students are closer to the new zoned, and the zones will be more uniformed, and it reduces the transportation cost of these transfers, and there's fuel savings. We're not going to do any of these until the board approves them, but these are just projected rezonings. This is my report, the last 4 slides, if you have any questions.
I'll start with Mr. Los Santos. Any questions on the, I believe you said, on the rezoning?
Yes, if you could put the slide back up on insurance and on the $2 million for those savings. I can't see it here. Or maybe on ours. Oh, here we go. Okay. The no new state monies. That's the page that I was talking about.
Yes.
Okay, so my question is to the health insurance cost increases and then also the substitute cost increases, okay? Substitute cost increases kind of concerns me, to say that there's a substitute cost increase. A lot of districts, when they manage, we know how much do we pay on a daily rate for substitutes? It's what, it's a fix, like substitute. Right, 180, right? So let's just go with the 180 figure. So most districts, you know how many teachers you have? You know they have 5 state days and 5 local days, okay? So you would budget for that. Any surplus funds at the end of the year, you use those for additional purposes, you put them back into your fund balance, or those are then designated and used towards summer school. Everybody's different. But to say that you have an increase in substitute costs would mean that they have more additional days that they're taking. Now, of course, I know they have additional vacation days and whatnot, but it's just kind of a red flag for me. And to say on the healthcare insurance costs, I'm just curious because the budgeting hasn't been done for the 25-26 school year. Is that still correct? Have you done accounting for the 25-26 school year, Ms. Rodriguez?
We're still in the process of working on that, sir.
Right, okay. So, like I said, if you don't know where you're at, you don't know where to go.
Well, we know
Right.
because the budget, we have a budget.
You have a budget,
Wait,
but-
let me finish.
Okay.
We have a budget for subs and for health insurance.
Okay.
And last year, both of these went over the budget, and this year is projected to be over too. This is
Okay.
why there are concerns.
All right. And then the additional thing is too, on the next slide that you described about the attrition and the $2 million.
Yes.
You talked about vacancy not being replaced and
Yes,
staff would not
yes,
lose their
yes,
jobs,
yes,
okay?
yes.
The concern here is that by saying that, you're kind of stating that everybody's gonna get a contract for next year. But the reality is like I've been telling my trustees, okay? At first, there was no salary overage. Now you know you do have one. It wasn't presented to you. Those are things that most superintendents and other trustees will tell you. You don't gotta wait for Carl Riggs to come and tell you that. Internally, your HR, everyone should know how many employees you have. You have to upload it into the system. We've gone through this before. It's on an Excel file. You'll know whether you have the revenues to pay for the staff that you have. That is not something that you have to wait till February the next school year to figure out. That's something that's automatic and easily can be presented and generated, and any district can say that to you, okay? So what I want to do is we have to protect our staff, our taxpayers, because we have not been doing that already for not just the last 8 months, but since the beginning of before last year. You have now about $52 million, that's what he showed you in his slide. You gave out a stipend in December that you don't have the money for. It wasn't budgeted. It was even tried to be pulled. They were trying to pull it, but it was given out. So you don't have 52.8 million right now.
Yes, we do.
You still have to subtract the stipend because it wasn't budgeted. Because he's telling you 52 million at the start of this year, but remember, you gave out $3 billion in December, and then you have a bubble waiting for you this year. You
Well,
have a salary.
as you recall-
Well, let me finish there real quick.
Okay.
So I can continue my point
Okay.
and structure it right. You have a salary bubble that you increased somewhat because you gave local raises, 4% for administration, the highest in the Rio Grande Valley, 4% across the board for hourly. That one's okay because they get paid by hour. If you give contracts, you're gonna have major issues next year because you're gonna deplete your unreserved fund balance and total fund balance even more. And you're gonna march yourself towards state intervention because you're a 6A school district, okay? If you roll everybody over again, okay, 14 one year, got bigger the next, and it's just gonna carry over the next if you don't get raises or anything else. And you're gonna redline the district, okay? And I've given you the math, and I've handed out the paperwork there. It's very simple. 52 minus 3, then minus maybe a projected 15 this year, and then minus another 15 next year. You're redlining. You can't, so that's why today I'm gonna tell you, when he's saying he's putting this here, vacancies haven't been replaced and staff will not lose their jobs, you need to push. You need to be responsible to taxpayers, you need to be responsible to staff as well. And you need to push contracts until May, until Ms. Rodriguez and her department can figure out where we stand and what actually, or what impact we're gonna have on our fund balance and our reserve funds. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr.
Let me just say quickly on the stipend.
Okay.
Remember, I sent the word in December that I saw the red flags about the monies, and I told the staff, there's no stipend. There's no 1,000 stipend. But then there was concerns, people got called. We met here, you called a special meeting, we met over here, and the stipend was given.
Correct.
And you also voted for it, Mr. Los Santos. You voted for the stipend. Even though you say you knew these things, you still voted for it.
Because you pulled it right before Christmas. And the people you've already put people in financial straits because they spent that money. That's just the way the world works.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay? Your responsibility, you have 350,000 reasons to know and to be right. I don't want to hear nobody told me, because you have 350,000 reasons. You're one of the top paid superintendents in the state of Texas. You're the top 25. And the response that I hear while I'm standing up here, while everybody's struggling financially, while people right now are struggling to pay their taxes, and employees are scared going into Christmas because you announced that principals and assistant principals and teachers are going to get fired, and yet nobody told me.
I never said
nobody told me, and that's all I hear is nobody told me.
Oh, yeah.
And you have 350,000 reasons why you should know.
Thank you, Mr. Los Santos.
Let me just finish what you're
Okay.
saying. You guys do a lot of curves out there. Let me just defend myself that we know what we're doing. I can assure you that the one for this year, we still have our 90 days, and staff and I are working on 26, 25, 26 by doing reductions and what we're doing, and we have interest coming up from the bond elections. So right now, I just feel comfortable that we're going to finish the year and not be a disaster, as the way you're letting us to believe. I just feel that we may hit the 90 days a little bit, but not that much. And I know what I'm doing. I'm highly paid, but I produce for this school district. Whether you agree to that or not, I know what I'm doing.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera.
One quick response. Mathematics is mathematics.
Yes, it is.
It's 1 + 1 is 2.
It's right.
Okay? And in July, our staff was at the end of the cliff, and I'm not, and you're being realistic. You announced in December that we were gonna have job cuts, and you're walking it back, but the math is math. They were at the edge of the cliff, now they're over it. They're hanging over it, and they're hanging by is fistfuls of grass.
I want to be clear, no one is going to lose their jobs. But throughout the state, there were 29 federal positions that there was no money for. Now we've cut that in half
to 14.
And I can assure you those 14 that come May, they're going to have jobs. No one's going to lose their job. Through attrition, we're just not going to replace. No one's going to lose their jobs.
And if we have to cut positions, we will, because of the number of students.
No
that we've
one will
lost.
lose their jobs, not even the federal people. We'll find a way.
Coach Serna, any questions there? Mr. Castillo, I know you had several, now you have another one?
Yes. On the substitutes, Doc, is there a way where we could maybe have an exit survey of the teacher where the substitutes go? You have substitute cost increases, correct? We want to we don't want to employ substitutes that are not effective. We want to be employing effective substitutes. Is there a way that we could get our teachers or teachers of record to just let us know which substitutes did a good job and ones that didn't, so we don't call back the ones that didn't do a
Yes,
good
I
job?
think we're doing that already.
I think regarding that question, I believe the principals know which substitutes don't do their job,
Yes.
or the administration at each campus.
Okay.
And that's who you would have to ask. And probably by now, if a substitute is not producing at a certain campus, the principal will block them, and they cannot substitute at the campus.
So we're
correct?
keeping track of that?
Yes.
Okay. And then another question. How much money do we currently have in investments?
I'll let Ms. Rodriguez, you want to answer that with your staff? You're in the back.
Yes, we actually have the investment report in our consent items. Just need to go through that.
Non-bond related.
I would need to do some math because the total includes the bond.
As she's figuring out, let me continue. Questions over here and see.
I got one more question.
Oh, okay.
On the health insurance, this is just a comment, not even a question. We're gonna have to get really creative
Yes.
on how to design this plan in a way that doesn't affect our employees with respect to the benefits that they're getting, but there are ways out there where we could be creative and think outside the box where we could save some money. So just be on the lookout for it. Kind of doing what we've always done is not going to work this year. So that was the only comment I wanted to make.
Okay. We'll wait. We'll continue to wait. Dr. Jaime, any?
I think she has it.
I got it.
You have it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The total on the investment report as of November, what's being reported, less the bond monies, is 59,457,362.
And that's unencumbered, nothing that.
That's just in the investment pools.
Okay, thank you.
That was your response? Okay. Dr. Jaime?
Yes, thank you. On the property for the city, can we share with the public what they want to do with that property? Is that something that can be shared with them?
You want to come up here and answer that question? We're selling the old egg barn.
Correct.
The Piravigo. We're building a new one, but go ahead.
Yes, sir. So we're looking at the existing ag facility the city of Weslaco is working to purchase. They're looking at a new fire station out there, and potentially they've thrown out there no commitments yet, plans for some recreational facilities out there for the public. But other than that, right now we're just working on that transaction, and also they're looking at them demolishing some of the buildings that they're not going to be needed for their project.
Okay. Dr. Rivera, another question. Yes. When you came on board, you faced a deficit.
A deficit.
How much was that? Do you remember how much that was?
I think it was in the $12 million again. The deficit that was, I'm sorry, 16 million deficit.
And you feel comfortable that you can, it's 14 million, you feel comfortable you can find, the adjustments
Yes.
that need to be made to take on this money?
Yes.
Okay.
We're looking at 25, 26, and again, the same payroll, the same is going over to carry to this year. So we're working with Region 1 to make the adjustments, and again, we have ways that we talked about as far as the staff will be reduced. And again, we're looking at the interest from the bond election. And I just want to report that very few districts have passed bond elections. And again, through all of us working together, we have that additional monies. So the answer is yes, we're working. We may have to hit the 90 days. We may have to hit a few days from it, but it's not going to be a disaster. Like now we're not going to have fund balance. We're looking maybe, I don't want to give you a figure right now, but it'll just be a few days, maybe from 90 to 80 to 75. And if you can look around, most districts do not even have the 90 days. We're one of the few that has the 90 days. You can attest to this, Mr. Castillo. Not everyone has 90 days fund balance. And again, we're working on it. I'll keep you posted throughout the next 4 months as to where we are.
Well, you've done it before, so
I've done it before.
I
want to fix it.
I trust in the fact that you can
I'm gonna fix
take care of it. So thank you.
If I can't fix it, I shouldn't be here, bottom line.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera. Mrs. Ustaika?
Yes, one thing I remembered I was looking at last week when we got the agenda, and I wanted to ask this, not just for myself, but anybody who's not familiar with insurance. What is stop-loss insurance? Isn't that where, we don't pay more than a certain amount? What, are we not?
Dr. Cantu, you want to
Why
answer
are we
that one?
paying so much if we have that stop-loss insurance?
Stop loss is because we are self-insured.
Mhm.
So this is kind of like insurance on our insurance. So we can hit a certain amount, that's what we call a threshold. After that, then that insurance kicks in and reimburses us, right? So if you have one person who hits a $200,000 limit, anything above that 200,000, we would get a reimbursement,
So it's
individual stop loss reimbursement.
It's per person, not, let's say the district, we already spent $4 million.
Correct.
It's
And-
per person?
Correct. It's
So
per
we don't
person.
have one as in the district already spent $5 million, stop loss kicks in, no, you guys don't take anything out of your pocket anymore?
No, it's actually per person, and right now what we have is a spread of claims. We have a lot of people, and I know that we're looking at these numbers and we're saying, okay, we're short, but each one of those numbers is somebody who's battling something that they weren't last year. This is unprecedented. I haven't seen so many claims, and I've only been at it for 3 years, but we have an influx of claims. Everything is more expensive, and we have a lot more people who are going through it. So we have a lot of cancers. Cancers are up by 300%, right? And just that. So where you have these $200,000 limits all across, it's spread out. Eventually, we're going to hit those, but at the same time, it's not necessarily a good thing to have that stop loss coming in.
So then every person has a 200,000 limit to their insurance before the stop loss kicks in?
Correct.
Okay.
Does that apply to pharmacy also?
Yes, sir. It's
combined.
It's all combined.
Now, when we mentioned this item last month, and the administrative fees had also gone up, what does that in?
I'm not 100% sure where we're getting administrative fees, because administrative fees are actually being rebated back to us because of that bundle that we did with Prime Insurance. So, for example, we get charged $35 per employee per month, right? That would be the administrative fee. Remember that we aren't in the business of insurance. We would need a huge department to run an insurance self-funded. So we pay administrative costs only, or ASO, administrative services only, ASO. That would be our Blue Cross. They charge us $35 per employee per month to negotiate the costs and to adjudicate all the claims, to pay the doctors, and of course we back that up. We then pay Blue Cross what we have plus their administrative fees. However, because we have guaranteed rebates, and I think that was the big selling point for you all, where we knew how much we were going to be getting, at least guaranteed rebates in the form of those administrative costs. So I'm not sure where we're hearing that there's more administrative costs.
I'm not sure. You guys are the ones who gave us that info last month. I read it on our information. Yes. One more thing, because when we talked about this last month, I was looking online to see what other school districts are going through the same thing. The only one that I found here in the Valley, and I may be wrong, but I only found an article, and I think it was the Monitor, with San Benito ISD. Also, I think they were about 1 million over with their insurance, but we're looking at 4 million.
So just to clarify how that number was calculated and is calculated, I'm looking at policy year, what we're spending per month, then I'm taking an average of that and multiplying times 12, except that I'm looking at policy year, right? Starting September, we noticed, okay, it's a little higher than it was before, but 1 month doesn't set a trend. October came in, I said, okay, now it's a little bit of concern. I mean, if this continues, we're going to have an issue. When November came in and we saw that the trend was continuing, we said, this isn't rerouting. We now have a big issue. And my estimate is between $4.5 million, about 4.5, because the average times 12 equals that much more than what we have budgeted, which is the 22.5, if I remember correctly. So that's how we come up with that number, right? It doesn't include the stop loss that should start kicking in, eventually will start kicking in, but then, like I'm telling you, it's unprecedented that we have so many neoplasms, for example.
So it's your projection, then. It's not like on a report, this is how much over. It's just a projected amount of what we're going to be?
Yes.
Okay.
But we have to be ready for it. We need to pivot. We need to make adjustments as we're seeing that this is what's growing. So looking at those numbers, the only thing we can do is project using existing data to predict future data. In other words, the average of the months that are coming in, the months are still climbing. So kind of like that projection is holding.
Well, let me tell you the way I took it, sitting up here and listening. I thought we were already, in these last couple of months, 4 million over. I didn't understand that this was a projection, and we're not sure until the end of the year. So that makes, yes, we need to be prepared, but that makes me think about it differently. Okay, it's the projection. It's not what already was spent in the first half of the year. That's what I wanted.
Right, but if you look at it being half the year, then we've already overspent 2 million, right?
Yeah, and I remember you said that
2.2 million.
last time. Okay.
Sir, I had one question. Yes, sir. Yeah, I wanted to clarify, because I'm going to say a trustee because I hate these type of situations, but a trustee asked a question right now that if Dr. Rivera took care of the $15 million ESSER deficit, that is the supposed staff overage we had prior to the start of last year. So you just had a slide there that shows you that you have an overage on salaries last year. Okay, so my question is for car rigs, since they're here, okay? And since you already looked at that number, well, you're stating there's $14 million in salaries that are unbudgeted, right? Or any of those carry over from the previous year? Are those any of those individuals? Because we had a $15 million ESSER deficit, right, prior to the start of last year, and the claims being made that it was wiped out.
It was wiped.
But there's a slide there that shows $14 million in total salaries.
New salaries for this year, for last year.
Okay, so that's what my
Plus the
question is,
stipend.
because
Everything there is for last year.
What I wanna-
It was not due 3 years ago.
what I want to emphasize for the public is there's a universal law, right? And I've been telling this to trustees that they've called or others. There's a universal law that we operate by, regardless in all of our lives, okay? And no matter how we see things or what we think, at the end of the day, it's money. You either got it or you don't. And there's no way that you can sit there and promise when we don't even know what the 25, 26 accuracy of the budget is. We don't even realistically know if that's even the 90-day. And tell the public and the community, again, that everything's gonna be fine and that nobody's gonna lose their jobs. Because you're right, you can roll everybody over. You can give everyone a contract. But you're gonna deplete your fund balance, okay, to critical levels next year.
It's not gonna
At
happen.
the end of next year.
It's not gonna
Because you're not gonna generate more funds than you already have. It's impossible. You can cut costs all you want on operations, on funding, on services. A lot of you have felt it. You've said it, right? Different organizations, athletics and things like that, cutbacks, transportation increases and things like that. All things tightening up at the campus on expenditures. You're squeezing water out of a rock. And so what I am speaking to here is my trustees and the taxpayers of the community. Okay, we need to get a forensic audit. We need to do an investigation, like Ms. Ustaita said, find out who, what, when, where, and why, and how we had a systematic failure here, okay? And I'm not talking about the car rigs audit, because they're getting the audit from, let me just say, people that I trust and that really reached out and notified everyone. So I'm talking about the whole process that got us here on us approving bonuses with millions of dollars of taxpayer dollars and giving out raises when we should have done the complete opposite. We should have done what the CFO put in November 15, 2024. Thank
The
you.
CFO gave us a 14 million. That's what I said on my report. He gave us, we have 14 million here, and he didn't put the salaries from one year to the next. That's what caused the problem. He didn't include it.
And again, that's what-
But my question there is, you would have seen it, right? You're the superintendent, you just explained it perfectly. The numbers are on paper.
We saw it later, after we met with him to explain it. He didn't have an answer.
A year later.
Was he the CFO? I'm not the CFO. We
And-
hired
You're
someone
the
to be
superintendent of schools,
I'm
sir.
superintendent, but I got a CFO.
And again, gentlemen,
I'm not the CFO. I can do both.
correct.
You want me to? I'll do
And
both.
when, like I said before, when the information was not provided correctly,
Yes.
then how can we make decisions in the best interest of our budget, you know? Yes, Dr. Rivera is superintendent, and he's working on that, and with the audit, and then, of course, the regional audit coming up also, then we can make a decision of, okay, do we need a forensic audit? You know, that's, and all this is good
The
information.
forensic audit is just going to try to put blame on who knew and who didn't know.
Correct.
But there's no fraud. You were told by the auditor.
There's accusations of manipulation of the
There's
budgets.
one thing that Dr. Ramos always tells us, and in our Lone Star Governance Coach, he says, you need to stop pretending.
Correct.
Stop pretending, and we sit here in a semicircle and we talk about things that we're pretending. And we're pretending right now that we don't know that some employee went and told people who are in charge about this. And we're pretending that they didn't know. Because the truth is, people knew. We know that. We need to stop pretending. Like he says, it's no, sir. I'm not saying Dr. Rivera.
Right.
Because maybe you
Yeah.
weren't told.
Yeah.
But what
Right.
I'm saying is, you know, that we learn through our governance. He says no more politricks instead of politics. This is all politricks. We don't want politics. We don't want somebody, if you knew something, and I'm not going to pretend that you guys didn't know, because it's firsthand accounts that I'm here that's telling me. It's the person themselves telling me. That's what's upsetting. I don't want Dr. Rivera hanging out to dry
Right.
because somebody didn't tell him.
If someone had told me the 14 million, I
Right.
would not have given the raises that we did, 2,500.
And exactly.
4%, the stipend, I would not have given that. But I didn't know.
And I
Because
did.
this guy led me to believe that the money was there.
And sir, and I told you in the last meeting, that is not, that we are trustees, okay, for our community, and we got put here. And I told you in the last meeting in private, right there, and they were all my witnesses, that it's not your decision to fall on the sword for others, okay? It's not.
And
It's
I
just like Ms. Ustaita's saying.
And I appreciate that.
But I know,
appreciate that,
but she's
I
right.
had to take action on the CFO because he was giving me wrong information.
And
that I was giving you wrong information.
And we have to take
And I
action
feel
on
bad for
everyone
that.
else.
I gave you wrong information. I gave the public wrong information. That was what he was giving me. Until we went out there and checked with him and squeezed him out, we found out that he was not giving me wrong information. So he's not
All
here
right, so
anymore.
let's continue. I know Coach
Okay.
Serna had a real quick question. Comment?
I'm gonna steer back to our schools, and we need to make sure that focus back to our kids.
Yes.
Correct.
And if we are gonna do this attrition strategy that we need to make sure the cabinet, I'm gonna ask the cabinet to make sure you study the people that are not coming back and make sure that we take care of our campuses. Because we, make that wise choice and make sure we're covering our kids so that our kids are, we can't lose, we're gonna lose key people in some positions. And y'all need to make sure we,
Okay.
Make sure we-
Final thought?
Final thought, and so I want to tell the staff this, okay? I'm not going to say who I've been talking, what agency, but I'm going to tell you this. I've been doing a lot of research. I've been giving a lot of information on the reduction in force process, and I've been giving a lot of information as far as how people set barriers, the trustees set barriers on based on the community's focus. One, if you're overstaffed and you do have to let go of staff, whether regardless, I'm not going to say categories, but never do you start with your campuses, especially when you're academically successful and you have operations there working. And you also, and in our school district, we don't focus on transportation, nutrition, and also maintenance, because those departments have, if you look at the budgeting tool from Region 1, have historically been right on target or below staffed. So you don't affect those, okay? It's everyone else that maybe that you can start to look at, but not the campuses, and it's not those departments. And I just wanted to state that publicly, and I'm going to stand on that as a trustee. I'm not saying that if we take the right proactive measures, I think that we can refrain from that, buy ourselves time. It's just like Carl Riggs said, make an adjustment on that 14 million. Carl Riggs just stated there that would be an issue if you continue to have it. So that means attrition for the public means if somebody decides to leave. Well, we're the highest paid district in the rural Grand Valley. We're part of the TIA, okay? If somebody else was gonna retire, they would have left in December already. So we already saw that staff drop. And you're probably not gonna have other staff leave as well either, because who would? Because we're the highest paid. So that's why I'm just telling my fellow trustees, we need to take proactive measures. And just like Trustee Sustaita said, I agree with her 100%. We need to stop pretending. We need to accept the fact. First part of crisis management is understand you're in a crisis. Thank you.
Got it. Let me just say real quickly, that to solve this, and we're gonna solve it, but it can't just be me. It has to be my staff and the team of 7 here. There's gotta be all 8 of us working together to solve this problem.
Correct.
I need your help.
And I
Mr. Castillo?
just want to make one final comment. I want to share where my headspace is on this, right? And just like Trustee De Los Santos just said, and I understand the anger and the frustration. I feel it too. But in my mind, right now, we just got to fix it.
Yes.
We got to figure out where we're at.
Yes.
We got to fix it.
As a team of 8.
Yes. And make the adjustments we need to make. And then after that's fixed, then I'm all for chopping heads. But right now, I want to fix it. I want to know, I want a true picture of where the district's at.
Yes.
And that's where my headspace is right now.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Okay, let's continue. Are you still on the superintendent's report?
I'm finished.
You finished? Okay,
I
let's,
just want to say, but luckily here in Weslaco, we have not closed any schools at all. Surrounding districts have closed schools, and we have not closed any schools, and nor do I plan to close any schools. We'll have to work and solve the problem.
okay, thank you. Let's continue with number 8, Lone Star Governance. Let the record reflect that Mrs. Sustaita came in at 5:34, and Dr. Jaime came in at 5:36. Mrs. Solano, discussion on the Lone Star Governance Board monitoring calendar for January 2026?
Yes, sir. Good evening. Good evening, Board President, board members, and community. So this month, we will be focusing our attention on the reading and math benchmark 1 scores that happened throughout mid-November all the way to the end of December. So that's why we're presenting them this month. So our focus for our GPMs 3.1 through 3.3, as well as 4.1 to 4.3, will be in the grade levels 4th fifth and sixth grade, right? So when we look at GPMs 3.1 to 3.3, that goal focuses in ensuring that we meet our sixth grade students meet or score meets grade level or above in the STAR math, and that it will increase from 24% when we started the work with LSG all the way to 56% by August 2028. So community and board, here you will see that we have fourth grade in the dark purple. It's this current year. We are at a 35% as a district for our benchmark 1. The end of the year target is 44%, and by 2028 it's 56. Then you have fifth grade that is at 53% as a district at the meets performance level. And their goal, end of the year goal, is a 44%. For sixth grade, they have scored as a district at a 32% at the meets grade level, and their end of the year target, once STAR has been taken and administered, is a 39%. Right there, you do have the table of the special populations for EBs, economically disadvantaged, which is very similar to your all students, and then your special education students as well. So for right now, because this is benchmark 1 data, we still have benchmark 2 to administer, and then a couple of more weeks until the math STAR. We are confident to say that we are on track to meeting the end of the year targets, which we know fifth grade have already met and surpassed the end of the year targets. And we'll explain that in a little bit. Right, the next slide shows you the campus meets performance for math by grade level and by campus, right? So this breaks it down by campus. There you can see that several campuses have already met or surpassed the end of the year target. Other campuses are nearing, and other campuses are in need of assistance. Fifth grade, you see how, and we celebrate and recognize also the hard work from all the teachers. We know that it has been a different year with the new implementation of a new curriculum, and we acknowledge that. But fifth grade is doing amazing, right, as well. And then you have our sixth grade, our middle school, which is why we monitor this this grade level, right? Because at the end of the day, it's this goal that we want to impact sixth grade, which is the transition grade from elementary to middle school. So there you see Central Middle School already surpassing the target. You have Cuellar nearing the target, and then Garza and Mary Hogue. Then I'm going to move on to the district. What's working and some opportunities that we have identified or come across. Some of the questions that were asked by the trustees. A lot of this of why you see campuses meeting the goal or surpassing the goal or nearing the goal, I think have this in common. So consistent implementation of the adopted curriculum, and we're saying fidelity to the way it's written, the way it's supposed to be implemented. It's the way that it's being implemented across the grade level or the classrooms, right? Maintaining the rigor while supporting all learners. Sometimes we want to teach or water down our instruction, right? And it hinders the performance of students versus teaching at the level or the grade performance that the student should be learning at. We have seen a tremendous increase in collaboration amongst teachers, amongst campus leaders, to problem solve implementation challenges. And we thank Region 1, the Service Center, for doing the work with us, but also our C&I department, our leadership staff, our instructional coaches, our deans of instructions, our teachers, more than anyone, for putting the time and the effort to ensure that proper implementation of a newly adopted curriculum is working as great as we have seen up until the first semester, right? However, what we've identified some areas that need more attention is to strengthen the Blue Bonnet objectives and how they're taught. Sometimes if I've been a teacher for a long time, I've always taught it this way, so you telling me, or a scripted way to teach it a new way, it's different, right? So we have seen in some learning walks where there may be a misconception of how I've taught it before to how it's actually supposed to be taught. So we're addressing that a little bit more closely this semester through our learning walks and walkthroughs. Also, consistently using the data to drive instructional decisions. Sometimes we have a lot of data, right? So what data are we using to ensure that it gives us the proper or positive student outcome? So, we are seeing an increase even just in our walkthroughs, in our T-test focus from instruction. So all of that, and I'll explain that in another slide. And also one of the things that we are now working with, because it's a newly adopted curriculum, is the integration of supplementary instruction. Usually with newly adopted curriculums, we tend to take more of the time than it's required or prescribed because we're adapting to it, right? So we are learning how to navigate. If the required curriculum says 60 minutes, but I've been taking all the 90 minutes, well, I haven't had time to reinforce with tier 2 instruction if needed. So we're navigating through that now that we feel more comfortable with the adopted curriculum as well. For reading, which is goal 4, and addresses 4.1 through 4.3, again, this goal addresses that 6th grade students that score meets grade level or above on the STAR reading will increase 38% from August 2023 to 53 by August 2028. We did make a note that 4th and 5th grade are not on track just because of the gap from here until the end of the year. 6th grade is on track. So I will say 4th grade across saw an increase in performance, right? From last year to this year. One of the things that we're doing based on our learning with the newly adopted curriculum in math, we're mimicking a lot of those instructional strategies in the other core content areas, and we're seeing the benefit of that, right? So we scored at 36%. However, our end of the year target is a 50%. In 5th grade, we scored a 39% as a district, and our end of the year target is a 54%. And then in 6th grade, you see we scored a 43% in all 4 middle schools combined together, with the end of the year target being a 46% here. So 4th grade saw growth, 6th grade saw growth, and ironically, math saw 5th grade growth and surpassed the target, but in reading, it's vice versa, right? So when you look at the campuses, you see in 4th grade, some campuses like Kleckler-Held, Margot, Memorial, nearing that end of the year goal, Gonzales surpassing it with a 71% at the meets performance level. And then you have in 5th grade campuses that are also there nearing the goal or surpassing it as well. I do want to state that in 5th grade, Margot and Airport had tremendous growth from last year to this year, so want to recognize that as well. And then in 6th grade, you see Central Middle School once again surpassing already the end of the year target, and the other schools nearing that end of the year target. And Mary Hope needing some additional assistance, but we trust with the new instructional processes, fidelity to implementation of these processes, that they will get near that target. What is working or not working, right, what needs attention in the RLA area is, again, one of the things that we have stressed is to use the same protocols as our new adoption with Bluebonnet. Bluebonnet has taught us a lot of good things and good, effective instructional practices that the Region Service Center and TA have taught us and brought down to us as resources. We are seeing high performance in those classrooms where administrators and our CNI staff have communicated or documented the high fidelity to the curriculum, meaningful data conversations to address student achievement. We see this and we hear this a lot throughout the campus, weekly PLCs, right, where the conversations are about rehearsing a lesson versus just planning for a lesson, creating another lesson plan, right? And again, high level of collaboration centered around effective instruction, which goes back to aligning it to the T-test rubric, right? At the end of the day, the state measures us, even through TIA, on how aligned or effective are you as an educator by putting in place the rubric or the dimensions, and we see it, right? What needs more attention? So one of the things that we're working with, and in 5.2, in one of the CPMs that I'll address in a little bit, you'll see is, as soon as we do a walkthrough, give immediate feedback. Because if the teacher doesn't know what you observe or what needs attention, then it's going to be hard to improve, right? So that is one of the things that we have noticed and we've discussed, to give that feedback immediately to impact instruction in a timely manner. And then again, adjust instruction to meet student needs without jeopardizing the rigor of instruction. Again, not watering it down, because I need to address it throughout my tier 2, address tier 1 as is, and then address the needs of those special populations through your tier 2, right? And then the last, the goals or for CPMs, right? For the constrained progress measures, we address T-tests, right? And we ensure that our focus in the classroom is T-tests, so that all external factors stay out of the classroom and we continue to positively impact student outcomes, right? So one of the things that we have seen is that multiple appraisers are in charge for each teacher, versus we've changed to where if you were the appraiser assigned to that teacher, only you appraise, right, and provide that feedback. So we've gone away from that in the last couple of years to where multiple appraisers have to calibrate and observe those same teachers, so that we're all seeing the same thing and we're all giving feedback that's aligned to the rubric, right? Instructional rounds. This year, tremendously, they have an increase with the Region Service Center assistants, but also too amongst the teams of campus leaderships, our coordinators, our CNI, those have increased as well. Increased emphasis on instructional walkthrough. What do we mean by this? I don't go into the classroom just to observe the learning environment behavior. I go into the classroom to tell you about the instruction. Is it being effective or not, right? Not just the learning environment. What needs more attention? Again, more training for appraisers and teachers on T-test rubric. So what we mean by this is not just the PD session, but on the implementation, right? So we have PD, now we need to follow it by monitoring that whatever we received in the training is implemented as is, right? As especially the rubric can be left up to interpretation, right? In several of the dimensions on how you rate a teacher. More intra-campus observation opportunities. This is giving our leadership teams an opportunity to go visit with other leadership teams and go do walkthroughs. We understand it's a busy life at the campus and it's hard to go and observe others in other areas, but at the end of the day, in addition, TIA will measure us across all campuses, that it's consistent, not just in a campus. And T-test alignment with student outcomes. If we say you are a distinguished teacher, do the student outcomes reflect that, right? What is the percent of students growing and performing at high levels of instruction? So ensuring that we understand that. That is my presentation, Mr. Nieto.
Thank you, Ms. Solano. Questions? I'll begin with over here with Mrs. Sustaita.
Okay. I did not turn them in, and I did look at the data, but I'm just going to be real honest. I was so confused looking at this, and let me tell you why. Okay. I went back and looked at the goals, our board monitoring calendar. Let's just start there. For those people who, a lot of people ask me, they tell me, I just don't get it. I don't get what LSG is. It's all these graphs and percentages. Let me try to do it, explain it as basic as possible as I can. So we have a board monitoring calendar, right? Every month, we're measuring certain goals that we have. The one that we're measuring this month, which you see up there, goal 3, we measure that, or we look at this twice a year. We do that in January and in May, only those 2 months out of the whole year. So before this month, the last time we looked at these goals, goal 3, was in May of 2025. That's the last time that we looked at it, right?
No, ma'am. It's because this one, okay, so the last time we spoke about 6th grade performance was in August when we do the A through F accountability ratings. So there, that it has an asterisk because it addresses all academic performance goals, because star ratings are for all grade levels. So we look at all grade levels in specific in that report.
Okay, so
but it's our benchmarks 1 and 2 that will give us a projection of how we're going to do in our final rating in August.
And that's what I was getting to, because I went back as a board member, and that's why I always ask. I told Mr. Nieto, can you please have them put our LSG presentations on our district website, on board book, because people ask me, and I don't even know. I have to go back into my board book. But anyway, so I went back to May, because I was thinking, when's the last, did we even reach our goal? Because the goal is for goal 3, that we want our 6th graders to get to the approaches level. The goal for 2025 was to have our 6th graders, goal 3, the goal for them was to get to a 37% on 6th grade math. Then I'm looking at this data and I'm wondering, did we even get there? Because the goal is by August, right? August is when we're supposed to measure. So that's what you said. You gave us the information in August. I would like to see it here though, because I don't know how we did. Compared, did we reach our goal or did we not reach our goal? I'm looking at this and it's giving me the benchmarks.
Right.
And I went back into the 2025 benchmarks and I wrote them down. For benchmark 1 in 2025 for the goal 3, the 4th graders last year were at a 50% approaches, is what I see on my data here. But this year they were at a 35. Then I look at 5th graders in 2025 benchmark 1, they were at 62, and now they're at 53. So I see this trend going down, right? And then I'm thinking, well, maybe they did good in the STAR test anyway, right? Because we did pretty good on the STAR. But then I'm thinking, but where's that on here? I don't see it for this month's. Did we reach that goal in 2025? So I don't know. Did we reach the goal?
Mr. Staita, just real quick, are you referencing approaches or the meets performance?
Whatever the goal is, approaches. It's approaches.
No, meets.
Okay, meets. Then it's meets.
Meets performance
Did
level.
we reach that goal?
So we, I'm not certain. I would have to go back just to ensure that I'm answering correctly. The only reason we put the benchmark 1, I know because we have been asked to compare it from benchmark 1 to benchmark 1, just to see where in time are we projected, right? Based on whatever we've implemented for the next round of assessments, are we going to meet the goal? I can go back to that data just to ensure that I'm answering correctly at the meets performance level.
Yes, I would appreciate that, because we as the board, and I was actually looking through this when we were doing our board evaluation, one of the questions is, does the board use the targets met to do the superintendent evaluation? Because there is a superintendent evaluation of if you reach your goals, the targets, yes, yes, yes. And that's how the superintendent gets evaluated. But if I go back and I look at the benchmarks, it's all no, 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 no. We didn't reach hardly any of the targets. So I want to make sure, do we have the accurate information? I don't know.
So we will run it. One of our departments runs the data for us, and we validate. All this data is also shared with campus leadership just to ensure that we're presenting accurate information. But what we can do, Mr. Nieto and board, we can add an extra bar graph to show you the STAR 2025 results at that meets performance level, so that you can see STAR 2025, benchmark 1 in addition to, right? And also benchmark 1 to this year.
Yes, because the main goal of goal 3 is
STAR.
Right. and how did they do? And
Correct.
we don't even have that on here.
Correct.
So that would be really helpful. Then I can say it. And I was just looking at, I didn't understand the graph at first because I see light purple then dark purple, but it's so tiny on the bottom last year compared to current year. And then now we have 4th, 5th, and 6th grade all together instead of on separate sheets the way we did last year. So that's good to know. My other question is regarding the CPMs, the constraint progress measures.
Yes, ma'am.
And just to read it out loud, what are we looking at this month for a constraint? Constraint means guardrails. You cannot do this. And one of the constraints is, this constraint for this month is the superintendent shall not allow adult or community convenience, preference, or private interest to take priority over the academic progress of our students. Now, on Friday, Trustee Nieto and Trustee Cuellar and I met here in the boardroom with a lot of the students. We had our student committees. The kids came in and we put them in groups, and they got to present up here in the front to each other. It was awesome. It was awesome hearing them. And something that they had said that really stuck to me. A lot of things they said was very like, wow, okay. But because this has to do with the constraints that we shall not let anything take priority over academic progress of our students. Coming from the students themselves, the feedback was, the teachers care about me, but maybe if they could like bond with me a little bit better. Maybe if they had more of that emotional connection with me, I could learn better. Not all, some. And there were other things coming up that I get calls also during the month saying, well, the kids, the field trips, we didn't have to pay for this before and now we do, there's no money. And it's all tied back to the mental health and it's all tied back to the budget. And the constraint is nothing takes priority over our kids. Nothing. And I feel like we're measuring this with t-tests. I don't know if that really aligns to what we want to measure here. I know the teachers are doing a great job. I know, but I would like to see, maybe we can talk about it in the future. How can we measure this a little better to take into account the academic progress as the priority and not, the t-test. I don't know. That is my 2 cents on that.
Okay.
But yes, that's all I had for this month.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Jaime?
You want us to go through the questions we submitted, Coach?
You can ask us about this question. She incorporated the presentation with all the questions that were submitted
Okay.
by the...
So I'm good. I'm good with it. Thank you.
Good. And I know Mr. Castillo submitted quite a number of questions, so I commend him.
I did my homework this month.
That's right. Any comments on the presentation?
Well, thank you for reminding me, sir, because you did send me a text late Friday night or whatever night it was to get your questions in, and I listened, so thank you, sir. I guess on the, going back on what Jackie said on the evaluation, on the instrument, we need to get it from Cinto.
Yes. So, Mr. Castillo, last summer, we did some work with all campus administration, district administration in the summer to revise the GPMs. And one of the works that we have pending is now look at our CPMs. We feel strongly about our GPMs. I know Cinto came over actually twice last summer to work with us. So we are going to be doing that work in the summer too, but now with the CPMs.
Okay, but as far as the superintendent's evaluation instrument, we need to get the instrument from Cinto. So going back to Jackie's comment as far as are we evaluating the SUP based on these goals, we need the instrument.
Is that something Dr. Ramos provides? I'm not sure.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Yes.
It is in the Lone Star participant manual.
Right.
It just takes homework to see, did you reach the goal? Because the one who's held accountable for reaching the goals is the superintendent. And we want to make sure we don't leave him hanging out to dry and that we're on progress, on the right track. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I submitted my questions and you guys answered them. So, just to follow up on the one that I asked to report back to the board on how we're measuring that.
That's on the walkthroughs, the CPMs 5.2, to increase the instructional focus. And that has been already a discussion in our principals meeting with principals and all of our CNI.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Coach Serna?
I think the questions that I put in, I don't know if you got them in time, but I did, you did answer them here, but maybe just if you can elaborate a little bit on the district's plan for the middle schools.
Yes. So one of the things, Mr. Senna, yes, and they are there. So our the first one is the plan to assist the middle schools that are not meeting the targeted goals in reading and in math. So in reading, we feel very confident that they are nearing the target. However, I think with consistent implementation, right, that is an end of the year target. I know Cuellar is very few points away from meeting the target, probably 3 if I'm correct. But one of the things that we had, each campus principal also give us their action plan to see how is it that we can support, right? We know we just did some work with them last week on providing the lowest SCs, and how is it that we can go back and target and work on improving those 5, and how many points would those 5 give you in addition, right, for the next round of benchmarks, benchmark 2, which we start mid-February already. So I know that will continue to take place. I know our content coordinators and our CNI staff have done a tremendous job in reporting data back, not just data from the classroom, but data from walkthroughs to see how it's aligning, but also to even our special population, which is your next question, right? How are we going to address that population of students? One of the things that we've seen an increase this year is with the newly adopted curriculum, special education teachers must be part of the training with core teachers. In other years, special education teachers had their own specific training, and they continue to have that, but now they're attending trainings with the grade level teachers as well. And they're being part of the PLCs to plan with your fourth grade teacher, fifth grade teacher, whoever it is that they support and also plan with. In addition to, I know that Ms. Cardenas and Mr. Garza just had a training on how to use supplemental aids to assist and increase that possible achievement in the tests as
And
well,
are we
in
seeing
instruction.
are we seeing positive impact on?
So that week, I know we saw a positive result with the training, but those trainings will have to continue throughout the semester to ensure that the implementation is in the classroom.
Okay.
Yes.
And going back to the previous one, and who goes and supervises the PLCs at the campuses from our cabinet? Is it you? I mean, how is it that you strategize to get to those campuses?
Yes, so every Monday morning, our CNI department, with the assistance of Mrs. Morales and Mr. Garlic, have a meeting, right? And by this time, we have already strategized campuses in need or prioritized campuses that need additional support, whether it's with walkthrough data, whether it's with instructional data that we're seeing that's coming in from any formal or informal assessments. Then they meet with them on Mondays to say, these are the campuses in need of support, and this is what we need to monitor and where we need to attend, right? And Mr. Garlic and Mrs. Morales do their rounds in addition to the coordinators as well.
And is anyone from central office doing any kind of modeling for our teachers, or do you leave it up to the campus principals, or how is it? I mean, do y'all model any strategies with our?
So are you saying like specifically
yeah,
from
like
central
our-
office, from our CNI department? Yes. Yes, our coordinators are out there in the PLCs or in the classrooms with, or in planning periods, right, for the secondaries. And then Mr. Garlic and Mrs. Morales also attend and are part of those discussions.
Okay. Thanks.
Can I just make a quick comment? Can you post these along with the presentation?
Yes,
Just so
I can.
whoever's interested could see the questions and the responses, more importantly.
Most definitely. Yes.
So we could go back and look at what we asked prior.
Yeah.
Mr. Los Santos?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. Any other questions?
I just remembered, Mr. Nieto, one of the questions that we had asked the kids, because it was part of the panorama, and this is part of the constraint progress measures. One of the questions was, at your school, how much does the behavior of other students hurt or help your learning? And on the panorama survey, 49% of the kids responded favorably. That means that 51% said, yeah, the behavior of other kids hinders my learning. So one of the groups of kids that we had here, I think it was one of the elementary schools, they chose that question. And I told a little girl, it was a little girl, I said, you tell me, pretend you're the board member, how can we solve this problem to help you guys learn better? And she said, well, my teacher, she spends a lot of time having to address kids who aren't behaving good. And so that doesn't give her enough time to teach us. And I know as a teacher, being in the classroom, I understand. I said, so how can we solve that? Well, maybe if we could have somebody help my teacher, like a teacher aide, she said. And I was thinking in my head, if we had enough money to buy every teacher a teacher aide, we would do that. And I know the principals get very creative and try to get people to go in there and help the teachers, but it was just very eye-opening that the kids, even the kids in elementary, can see that my teacher needs help with the kids who aren't behaving good, right? And that gets back to, what is the priority? Our academic progress should be the priority. Mental health, because those kids who aren't behaving very well, they're screaming out for attention. There's something going on there. There's a lot of things we need to work on, but I just wanted to mention that. And I know K-West was there and they were recording, and maybe they'll get to share later on some snippets of that meeting, but it's just very, very interesting to hear from them.
And of course, Mrs. Staita, being the teacher that she is, she provided an activity for the students. But we told the students, all the questions you responded to, and if everything we're discussing, take it back to the principal. So that way, you as a principal can see what the other schools are doing. There was quite a number of questions, and some of them said, oh, we're doing this, but we're not doing this. So those students need to go back to you, and I said, meet with you for 5 minutes, that's it. And go over that, you know? Unlike, so thank you, Mrs. Staita, and of course, Coach Correa was there also. Later on, we'll have the other board members attend also. But Mrs. Solano, I like what you said, immediate feedback is very important. And I believe that that's one thing that Ms. Garcia, Rosa Garcia, as her presentation, even though I wasn't here, I had the opportunity to view it online, and immediate feedback, coaching from the administration, the walkthroughs, but immediate feedback is very important to the teachers, because that's the way they will improve, you know? But, and my number one thing that I've always said, student engagement is very important. Not just your best 6 students, all 22 students that are there, or all 24. If they're engaged and they're learning, and you said that it's rigorous instruction, then we will have the good results, all right? Any other final comments? Okay, let's continue with, do we have the board self-evaluation today?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I know that several of the board members provided this information, and I kind of averaged the scores, you know, and so we'll go with number 1 is the board has adopted student outcome goals, and we're still not at the mastery level. The mastery level, again, I'm gonna make some comments. Have committed the vision and student outcome goals to memory. No, we haven't. Well, I haven't. I don't know if maybe one of you has, right? Know the current status of each student outcome goal. Not necessarily. Agree that there is broad community ownership. Not yet, because we haven't presented to parents or parents at the school. Communication with students, staff, and community members. We have to improve in this area. So right now, that one we're at a 12, meet focus. Number 2, vision and goals 2. The board has adopted goal progress measures, or the GPMs, aligned to each student outcome goal. There, we meet focus. All board members and the superintendent agree that the GPMs will challenge the organization? Yes. Require adult behavior change? Yes. Are influential by the superintendent? Definitely. Are all predictive of their respective student outcome goals? Yes. But to get into mastery level, again, communication with students, well, we have done that part, like you mentioned, Jackie, with the student advisory board. With staff, not yet, and community members. We still have to work on that part right there. You know, and I know sometimes it is difficult, but we have to reach out to the principals and say, what is a time that is available that we can go and present our LSG governance information to staff members and to teachers and so forth. And that was okay, so vision and goals 3, the board has adopted constraints, which we have, superintendent constraints and board constraints, and we're still at a 9 that. We still haven't met the mastery level. The mastery level, all board members and the superintendent agreed that there's a broad community ownership of the constraints. Not yet. We're not there yet at all. Now we go to vision and goals number 4. The board has adopted superintendent constraint progress measures. We have. We rated altogether a 4. We're still not at the mastery level. It meets focus. The CPMs will challenge the organization. Yes. Will challenge the organization to uphold community values. Definitely. Are all predictive of their respective constraint? Yes. And are influential by the superintendent? Yes. But in order to meet mastery focus, all board members, not just a few, all have to agree that there's broad community ownership of the superintendent CPMs. We have, but through the involvement and communications of students, staff, and community members. We're still not there. We know we're 1/3 of the way there, but so that one was a 4. Now we continue on to progress and accountability 1. The board invests at least half of its time to improving student outcomes. And to meet focus, 25% or more of the total quarterly minutes in board-authorized public meetings were invested in improving student outcomes according to the time use tracker. Like what Ms. Solano did, the questions that we're asking on how students are doing, the benchmark results and so forth. We still need it to improve in that, because in order to get masters, we have to have 50% or more of the total time, which we're not there yet.
Mr. Nieto,
Yes.
Have you gotten with Dr. Ramos to code the minutes for on the time use tracker with the?
Actually, he was supposed to come by, so he's gonna come by so we can get together on that.
Okay.
And also on the training for Dr. Jaime to track the minutes in a board meeting. Yeah.
It's on you, sir.
He did give us an update on some of the meetings
Yes.
recently on the email.
Yes.
I think he
Okay.
calculated the minutes.
Okay, because I wasn't even
I
sure
wanna-
about this. I don't know how many, what percent we're at or what.
Yeah, it was pretty low.
Yeah, 25%. All right, let's continue on to progress and accountability 2, which is total points possible with 5. We got 4. And again, the reason we got 4, which is meet focus, the board receives at least annually a report on the average cost of staff time spent on governance. 1 quarter ago, the board performed a self-evaluation, which we have, voted to approve the quarterly progress tracker, which we have. But in order to get mastery, there's again, we have to have modified outcome goals, GPMs, constraints, CPMs, or targets, and considers superintendent performance by evaluating the superintendent only on results, which you mentioned, and that's something we're going to do when we do the evaluation this year.
Mr. Nieto, this is my opinion.
Okay.
I don't think we should get 4 points, and the reason why is because we have to meet all this criteria. And the
Correct.
first one says we get a report annually on the average cost of staff time spent on governance using the staff use tracker. We've never gotten a staff use tracker.
Okay.
And a cost of how much we're spending to have them address our concerns. We've never done that.
So
we should not be getting 4 points.
So we should be in approaches?
That's my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless we have gotten a report on the staff use tracker
No.
that I've never seen.
No.
Okay, then no.
And what I did, I took the average of all the points that the board members
Okay.
presented. So, systems and processes. The board operates in a way that allows the superintendent to accomplish the vision. Again, meets focus, that's what we have in the average. Board authorizes public meetings in the last quarter that did not exceed an average of 4 meetings per month. Okay. An average of 3 hours per meeting. Okay. An average of 5 other topics per meeting. Not necessarily, the majority has been on budget. The board has reviewed its existing local policies, okay? And only local policies pertaining to board work. So but again, to master focus, an average of 3 meetings per month, which we have, an average of 2 hours per meeting, which we have. No, not necessarily on that one. Board members receive the final materials to be voted at least 7 calendar days before the public meeting? Yes. But still, no edits to the board's regular scheduled meeting agenda in the 3 days prior to. Now remember, 3 days prior to, we cannot change an agenda item. And I think you mentioned it to one of the times that you called me.
Yeah.
So there we meet focus. On advocacy and engagement, out of 10, we're at approaches because we haven't met. The board displays and keeps updated the status and targets of all student outcome goals? Not necessarily.
Publicly in the boardroom, it
Right.
says there.
Yeah.
So maybe we can work on that
Okay.
and put them up here.
Yes, exactly. Has led or co-led at least one training? I haven't. I don't know if any of you, besides Jackie and I and Coach Cuellar and Coach Serna with the student committee, that was the only time that we kind of led.
Yeah.
But it was for students. We still have to focus on the adults.
The adults, yeah.
And On this one, advocacy and engagement, again, approaches, because has led or co-led. Students have been included at least one Lone Star governance training, in kind of was when we met with the students. Newly selected board members have received an orientation on Lone Star governance by fellow board members or an LSG coach, and that's upcoming with Dr. Cinto. And then the final one, the board works collaboratively with the superintendent to lead towards a vision, which we have, but again here, I have it as a 3, according to all the board members that submitted the information. Maintain an average attendance of 80%, which we have. Agrees that all board members have followed policy, yes. Agree that every member has completed all required trainings. I don't know if we have completed all of them yet. And rather than the superintendent, led the completion of Lone Star governance tests. So that's something we're working on. And masters have completed the Lone Star governance workshop. We did, but we still have the second one upcoming in the spring. Agree that no board member has been given operational advice or instructions to staff members during the previous 3 months. Again, depending on each one of you, I don't provide information to other staff members. If I do, I provide it to the superintendent. You know, and that's why we have him and his cabinet to continue on that. So the rating with the 3 going down, I have it at 70. Comments?
I agree.
Mr. Castillo?
I agree. I'll make a motion to approve.
All right. And as I pass it, you'll sign it. Commissioner, any comments on what we're doing with LSG?
No, sir. We're good.
Mr. Los Santos?
No comments.
Okay. And Ms. Jackie?
I just kind of feel like we've hit a plateau with this. We're just kind of stagnant. We're not getting
Yes,
any
we are.
better or any worse. And I know we all work. I know we all have a family. But you know, we were elected to at least put a little bit of time into those kids. And it's hard. I get it. I know. But when we come together as a board, it makes a big difference. When it's always the same 1 or 2 or 3 of us, it's good to work together as a team.
Yeah.
We gotta work on that. That's my comment.
And again, with the Student Advisory Committee, Mrs. Sustaita told them, you know, whatever information we're gonna get from you, it will impact on what decision we're gonna make next year. You know, all the information that they're providing, because, you know, every school is different. You know, each principal is different, but there's common things that can happen at every school. Just like I mentioned earlier with Miss Rosa Garcia, you saw the scores there for Gonzalez and meeting above the target rate. You know, so there's something going on there that will help other schools. And, you know, but Ms. Solano, you follow up on that.
I would make a quick comment.
Okay.
No, I'll go real fast. I just wanted them, you know, Ms. Sustaita's right, Trustee Sustaita's right. They've always been holding down the fort for years, for a long time, and you too as well, right, Mr. Nieto? If we could just schedule certain things, like because I work, so 12 to 1 or after 5. And I know it's tough for kids after 5, so
Yeah.
like, or 1 to 2, something like that. That kind of would open up a window. Because you're right, we all have to start putting in that type of work there, especially in that type of area. And I know I was gonna say, Mr. Sedna también, I mean, you know, I don't know what his hours are, but yeah, I'm free after 5 for like staff and especially committees. Because there was a safety committee, but it was
Right.
like at 4.
Right.
So that means I would have to take half a day, and I have a 6-year-old and a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old, and they get sick and dental appointments and whatnot and all that. So yeah, if we could just, yeah, she's right. Yeah, and you all are right. We all have to pull it.
And the upcoming where adults will be invited will be after 5.
Okay.
So that
Yeah, and
way.
the kids were here during lunch. They had Chick-fil-A here and
Right.
cupcakes during lunch. We've had them during lunch, so.
Right.
Just on the comments that Jackie said on this week or last week's advisory meeting, I think we need to listen to the kids, because the kids know. And I think I mentioned that to someone. They are there in the arena. We're out here. We need to listen to them. So hopefully we do.
Okay.
Mr. Nieto.
Thank you.
I was just gonna say too, Jackie, I feel personally attacked.
I tell them all the time, just 1 hour, just go.
But noted, I'll be better. So thank you for keeping us accountable.
Okay.
And it feels good when the kids start coming up to you like, hi, miss, or because what is that saying? The kids don't care how much you know. They know how much you care, or something like that.
Okay.
There you go. Something
All
like
right,
that.
let's continue. So we had a motion to approve, right? Yes, sir. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Second by Mrs. Staita. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So this is the one we're signing, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you pass that on, Patricia, we can sign it. All right, let's continue to consent items.
Presentation.
Oh, yes, my fault. Presentations, Miss Dorothy Serna. The first time it was elementary school was Miss Rosa Garcia. Now it's a middle school, Miss Dorothy Serna. And let's find out why they were so successful last year.
Members of the board, thank you so much for having me here. So you mentioned a lot of things going through the strategies that you were talking about, and those are good strategies that all campuses implement. And I know Ms. Garcia, and you mentioned, she presented last, a couple months ago, and everything that she had on there, it's what we all do. So I said, how am I going to make this different? So I kind of went in and dug into our vault of secrets, and so that's what I'll be sharing with you today, okay? So our best practices. First of all, we have the culture of success. It drives the effectiveness of our best practices. And I chose 3 important things. Of course, there's discipline and there's attendance, but I feel that collaboration, teamwork, and dedication to student success, and I think, Jackie, you mentioned about students at the center of all we do. That is what we practice at Central Middle School. So I went in and I said, okay, let's choose 3 of the most important and impactful best practices that we practice and have been practicing at Central. I've been there close to 16 years, and a lot of these we've been doing for over 10 years. And of course, we improve it and make it better. So the data analysis and goal setting, targeted interventions and support, and focus support and programs. So I'm just going to go a little bit and give you some information. So the first one is data analysis. On the left, we have Domain 1, and I'm just sharing what we do with our staff. In January, we came back, we analyzed the data. On the left is Domain 1. We had the teachers analyze the data, they set class goals, and they set student goals. I met with the teachers, I went over the data, and I said, okay, and if you notice the purple, that is their data for benchmark 1. Each teacher had to fill this out, and then they had to look and analyze the data and give me a commitment. What is their commitment for benchmark 2? What do they see in their data that they can level up? And when I mean level up, that means from did not meets to approaches to meets, and so forth. And so if you notice this example, the teacher had 7 students that did not meet. So her commitment for benchmark 2, she said all of them are going to meet it. And so, and you see her level up. And her initial Domain 1 was 57. She's going to contribute to the whole pot, like I like to say, to Central with a 66. Then once each teacher has their data, they come together and they input it as a grade level, and that is their commitment. And if you notice, they're aiming high, and that's also very important, aiming high. And so our goal, when we met with leadership, we as an administration had to set our goal, and they've already met the goal that we had placed. So that's amazing. So that means for benchmark 2, it should go higher. On the right, my APs and instructional coaches work on Domain 2 on growth. So they met with the teachers, they worked on the data, and this template is not normally made for social studies, it's for reading and math, but we tweaked it to show our social studies teachers that we need to show growth. Normally, it's just reading and math. So we do that for social studies and we do that for science. And here I just want to point out, for example, for the beginning of the year, a student got a 16, and for the MOY, they improved to the 20. They got a raw score of 20. And so the teacher goes, looks at the data, looks at the TEKs that were missed for the student, and then they set a goal for the student. Then they, for example, in this one, the student has a goal of the 24. Student goes back to the student, they review it, they conference with the student, and then they, the student submits, implements it in their data tracker, and then that, they know that is their goal. So for benchmark 2, they know they need to get a 24. So it's very targeted, and it's constant, reminding them. Whenever we assess, all those meets and master raw score is always posted on the board. So the students can see what they need to, and remind them what they need to get to. Okay. The second best practice is targeted interventions and support. And I mentioned about teamwork. It takes teamwork. And here it's showing that our interventions are implemented based on student data. So it changes from benchmark 1 to 2 from year to year. You have different kids, and so we adapt and we improve, and we always study our data. All teachers, including our electives, support STAR-tested subjects. And if you notice on the right, this is how we have it set up. Our science, 6th and 7th grade, helps the math. Our social studies, 6th and 7th, helps the reading. Our PE coaches, they help us with reading. Our 7th grade electives help us with math, and our 8th grade electives help us with science and social studies. So we're very strategic on our interventions, okay? And focus supports and programs. Here's an example. We use every single day possible. Our campus is very unique. We're upstairs, downstairs, and in order for us to test in the main building, some kids cannot test, so we divide. One grade level test on one day, next day another grade level test. So we utilize that day that the student is not testing, and we create camps. So all day, and this is a sample, our reading teacher and math teachers still do their subject area, but their social studies does reading, and their science teacher does math. So all that day for the camp, that's all they're doing, reading and math. And when we get closer to a certain, let's suppose science and WEA or social studies, they also pivot to help those subjects. So everybody works together to make sure that all subjects are given that extra help. And they're also, it's very focused on what they, do in those camps. It's not a free day, it's actual instruction. And then another thing that I feel very proud of is our hashtag Wednesday writing, where everybody writes. Every Wednesday, they write, and this is a sample from the PE, all subjects. So a student writes 6 times in one day. And I think that has been very successful. Reading teachers, all they want from our teachers is punctuation and capitalization. And as long as they work with the students with that and our hashtag Wednesday writing, they're happy, and it shows. Okay. And at the heart of Central's success is our teachers. All of this can't be done without our teachers. They're the ones that make it happen. They're the ones that believe in order to get it done. Our expectations are basically high, and therefore our teachers strive, just like our students. And we work as a team. Like I said, on campus we work as a team, but we also work as a team, with central office, students, and parents. And with this collaboration, it really makes Central stand out, because we have a culture of success. And let me see. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Serna, let me see if anybody has any questions, even though, and it was evident in the benchmark results where Ms. Solano presented that you all already have met the target rate in the different subject levels. Ms. Jackie, any comments or questions?
No, just great job. I mean, you're doing awesome. I was actually, when you said the teachers rotate, that, like science is teaching, how do they do that? Just going to a different subject. That's kind of like, wow.
It's a lot of collaboration between the teams. So we're in a team concept, so it's very easy. So you have a team of 4, and they have the same kids all day long. Okay. So they have that trust. They collaborate. They work together. So they help each other out.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Dr. Jaime?
Great job. A lot of great things happening there, and the recurrent theme is teamwork. I like that. As a team, you guys are having that success. But
yes.
Keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Castillo?
No, just great job. Thank you for leading by example, and hopefully some of our lower performing middle schools could come together and try to get some of those strategies so we could be second to none across the board.
Yes.
Coach Serna?
Yes. Thank you.
Love the graphics. They got my attention. Real
Visual.
well. Visual was good, but real quick, can you explain to us a little bit of, is there a preparation of the elective teachers going into the court? Is there some sort of preparation that you give them, and do they have a game plan going in?
So as after benchmark 2, and it depends. Like for example, we've analyzed data at benchmark 1, and if we see we're okay, we'll go wait till benchmark 2. Benchmark 2, PE coaches get a reading packet, and they focus on vocabulary depending on our needs. Last year it was vocabulary and sentence structure.
Yeah, setting that game plan is key, because now you maximize your time with it. Good.
Mr. Los Santos?
Yes. I guess everybody has said a lot of things, but yeah, the graphics, the presentation, the structure, the process, everything you have going on there. All of our schools are great and are doing an outstanding job, and you're also one of them that consistently delivers. And also, not only that, but I also have, my kids have gone through there too, and every single time when Mr. Ornelas was there, and now you're there as well too, they have an amazing time there, right, as children, in the classroom and out of the classroom. So continue to do a great job, an amazing job, you and your staff, and I wish you all the best for the remainder of the year. Thank you
so much.
And Ms. Serna, great presentation. But I had the opportunity when I was at Mary Hope. I had Ms. Morales, so she took care of that. The data analysis, working with the teachers, the tutoring. A lot of times in middle school, those teachers will tutor during their conference period. And they would, Ms. Cindy Patch was one of them that she would say, Mr. Nieto, Ms. Morales, I already have the tutoring schedule for those students that need assistance. And that's the only way you can provide that information for the students so they can be successful. And of course, being with Mr. Ornelas there for the last few years, that leadership was very important, and you're going to carry on this year. So best of luck, and thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
One more
Oh, yes.
I just
Yes,
remembered. Are the teachers the ones who track the data, or the students? Kind of reminded me of the Leader in Me. You know how the kids track the data?
So the actual data, like their benchmark, students do that.
Okay.
The goal that the teacher works at conference with the students, they chart that.
Okay.
They chart any assessment that the teacher chooses to track.
Okay,
But for sure, benchmarks.
That's a lot of work for a teacher to do. Everybody's, but no, the kids are in charge, which is awesome.
It's it's holding them accountable and letting them understand the math and what they need to, where they're at and where they need to get to.
Yes, absolutely. Because even the little elementary ones, when we did the Leader in Me and they had their progress trackers, they know how to do it. So I'm glad to see that middle school's doing it also. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Serna.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's continue on. Now we'll do consent agendas. So I'll give you a minute or two. Most of you should have probably already read it yesterday or day before yesterday or Sunday. Well, yesterday, Sunday. I'll begin with On the right side, Mr. Los Santos, any agenda you need to pull?
Yes, item 9H1A. 9H1A.
All right. Coach Serna?
No.
None? Mr. Castillo?
None.
None? Dr. Jaime?
No, sir. None.
And Mrs. Suzaita?
Yes, 9H1B.
Okay. So I have a motion to approve the consent agenda except for 9H1A and 9H1B.
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Dr. Jaime, second by Mrs. Suzaita to approve the consent agenda except for 9H1A and 9H1B. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, let's go back to NH1A, approval of the interim financial report for the month ended November 30th, 2025. Mr. Los Santos.
Yes, my question is for Ms. Rodriguez. On this document, do you have it there with you? Or
Yes,
do you
sir.
need a copy? You
Yes,
do?
I have it.
Okay, great. On this agenda item, I just wanted to ask you a few questions. Ms. Rodriguez, these documents being presented to the board in our packet, are the budget line items and actual, as they're presented, are they accurate?
We're still working on the accounting, sir.
Okay. So just to be clear for the public, for my trustees, okay, the 2025, 2026 budget has not been finalized, accounting hasn't been done, and these budgeted items that are being given to us as trustees it's not your work and it's not 100% accurate, correct?
It is not 100% accurate due
Right.
to the priority we've been placing on the audit.
Right, okay. I think we talked about that. I wanted to pass this out to our board members as well too, okay? When we're looking at this, you can take this one, pass one down, please. Yeah, it's here, this is the actual. And I highlighted some areas because as we discussed and during the process, like I said, now that we have the preliminary audit findings, we see that there's a $14 million gap. We've had discussions about how to read this, right? Because when we get our packet, there's a cover sheet, and then there's the general fund sheet, right? Do you have one? The first sheet shows you all the accounts and all this other type of that's where you stick in the bond monies and whatnot, and you see these massive numbers of 100-something millions, right? So that's confusing for trustees at all cases. But when you go to the second page, which is usually like page 411, and you look where it says at the very top, general fund, this is the packet that you can look at, okay? And should be posted every single month online, just for transparency to our community. But every single board member and every single employee, including the people that review these packets and where they're submitted, should be looking at this. And for my board members, if you look at the area that's highlighted in green, because I highlighted it for them, the area that says the sources, local, state, federal sources and totals, that's how much money we currently, right now they're showing you. As of November 30th, $202,530,783. And then what you do is you subtract those circles that I circled for you in red, okay? Which is all your functions, which are right here, those budget line items, and then also other resources and other uses. Those two categories get subtracted from that, and then you get what you see there. An excess, okay, which means surplus, extra money, or you have a deficiency. Parentheses, if the number is in parentheses, that's a negative, okay? So even as of now, I could completely go through this document right here and show you all the different inaccuracies, especially the stated fund balances, the fact that you have 106 under line item 11, I highlighted in yellow. You have $106,561,801, okay, that's itemized there for instructional costs. Last year, you ended, according to what was given to us in September, you had 105, okay, 105 million in that line item. Okay, there's only a $900,000 increase from last year to this year, but how can that happen when you had 5,000, you know, had all this money come in from the state for employees, and then from 0 to 2-year teachers, we gave them raises as well, okay? So it's almost impossible, it's only just that amount. So there's inaccuracies here, and I want to show my trustees that this is and like I said, we have legal here, our legal counsel, it's required that trustees get a monthly report according to a certain level of accounting standards. That's part of Texas Educational Code. It can't be off because you're dealing with public taxpayer dollars. It's not we made a mistake, and it's not like, okay, we made a line item or it's somebody else's fault. At that time, you should have just not even reported the budget at all. That's been my whole concern, okay? I was asking for it before since July. And then now that we're I don't want to say we're up to date, but I want my trustees to understand this. Imagine going to the bank and asking for your balance and nobody can give it to you. This is a $200+ million organization that's operating yet with no accounting. If that does not raise massive red flags, then I don't know what else does. And nobody can sit there and say that they know that we have a 90 days, and nobody can sit there and say that they know what our amounts are. We're flying blind right now. And that's the reason that I have the agenda item that I have, so that we can have a forensic audit that will come out and find out the who, what, when, where, and why, like Trustee Sustaita says, and she's 100% accurate. And then also they can verify 25, 26 accountables, okay? And our team, locally, you stated, ma'am, just started the 25, 26 because they were behind on 24, 25, and we're in February 2026. And do you think that your team, these individuals have been through a lot, okay?
Yes, sir.
And I admire them, and I'd go to war with them any day of the week for what they did, okay? And they even worked through Christmas after what they were put through.
Yes, we did.
Okay? And so I'm not gonna have them work day and night, okay, for people that didn't even care about them or respect them in a proper way. So we need to bring in a team so they can help and verify, because they're way behind. You just started halfway through a year on a over $200 million budget to start doing accounting, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. That's all I have for my agenda item.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Los Santos. Mrs. Sustaita?
Yes. 9H1B. This is having to do with the legal fees for the month of December.
Approval of legal fees for the month of December, correct.
Now, to give context to my question, the board is in charge of hiring 3 people. That is the superintendent, the lawyer, our legal counsel, and if we have an internal auditor, which we do, Ms. Outerkirk. But every month, because we are in charge as board members and accountable for this, what we pay, I always look at these, I look at even though I don't understand it much, but the finances, like Mr. Little Santos said, and I also look at the legal fees. But this last month, it was concerning. Several months have been concerning to me, and I brought up my concerns. But this last month, because it's January and we had totals for all the years, just last year in legal fees, we spent almost $500,000 on lawyers. That, to me, is way too much. And if I look at 2024, we more than doubled in 2025 in legal fees, which is not okay with me. It's not, it's too much. Especially when I see 2 lawyers on here that we're paying. So then I go and look at invoices, and I'm not gonna go to line items, but I see that one lawyer charged us and the other lawyer charged us for the same services, which I don't understand why. It doesn't make sense to me. That's one of my concerns, that we're getting, why are we paying double? Why are we paying 2 lawyers when we just have to pay one? And why are you paying almost $500,000 in legal? We want to save money. It starts under our nose right here with the invoicing. We have to put in the homework and look, because we're in charge of the superintendent, the lawyer, internal auditor. And there is a policy. Once again, me and my policies, you're gonna get tired of hearing it, but policy BDD has to do with the attorney, local policy. And it says here, individual board members shall channel legal inquiries through the superintendent, board president, or board's designee as appropriate when seeking advice or information from the district legal counsel. Yet I see on the invoice that there's over $1,000-something a month on one board member's request, which is against policy. We're not a personal attorney to any one individual board member. Why are we getting billed for this? I don't know. I've brought this up before since last year, that this is not our personal attorney. He is the board's attorney. He doesn't work for one board member, and we should not be getting billed for this. That is my opinion, and I'm basing it on what I read in policy and what I see in the invoicing, and I am not happy with what I'm seeing, so I am not going to approve this item.
Okay. And again, that one, in the next board meeting, we can have an agenda item on that. Okay. All right. So let's go with 9H1A, approval of financial report. Do I have a motion to approve that, or we're not going to approve it? Mr. Los Santos.
Well, I don't want to approve anything that's inaccurate.
Yeah, I would say we don't approve it.
Okay, so we have a motion
Not to approve.
not to approve by Mr. Los Santos, second by Mr. Ben Castillo. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so it's not approved. Now let's go to 9H1B, approval of legal fees for month of December 2025. Do I have a motion not to approve?
I'll
or-
make a motion until it gets fixed, if
Okay.
possible.
Not to approve? Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Mr. Ben Castillo, not to approve legal fees for the month of December 2025 until we get further clarification.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
Right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So we don't approve 9H1A and 9H1B, correct?
Correct.
All right, so let's continue on. Let's go to discussion items. Update on trainings, conferences, events, and consider future agenda items requested by the Board of Trustees. Dr. Rivera?
None this month.
None? Okay,
I do want to share something that I'm kind of excited about.
okay.
I applied for a stipend or like a scholarship with TASB, I think in November, to go to Washington DC in February to go and do some advocating at the White House and meet with legislators. And I got there was only 5 stipends awarded in Texas for this conference, and I got one of them. Yay, Weslaco!
All right, congratulations.
So, yeah, so they're gonna pay for all that, and it will be coming up in 2 weeks to go to Washington DC to go and fight. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not
So,
gonna fight.
so we'll have an agenda item for you to present all that information that you're gonna learn over there.
Yes.
All
yeah.
right. Okay,
So, Mr. Nieto, just one.
Yeah.
go ahead.
Future agenda items, kind of related to item 10B.
Okay,
Since it's for discussion, for the next meeting, and this is an I statement, I would like for the agenda items to be, I think we have the audit, right? Our regular audit?
yes,
If we could have the audit, a presentation from Region 1,
okay.
and then a potential action for a forensic audit after we get that information.
Correct. Okay. And we'll put those on the agenda items with Dr. Rivera at the agenda review. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
10B, discussion regarding the fee and scope of work for Weaver to conduct a potential forensic financial audit as requested by trustee Mark De Los Santos. Dr. Rivera.
It's up to the board.
I'd like to make a statement to the board as to why I put this on the agenda. First, I want to acknowledge the fact that this was a discussion and action item. And apparently they said that Dr. Rivera stated there was a typo. So action was left out. But I do want to just say a statement, and this is the last statement I'm going to make to my trustees. And at that point, you all can decide what you want to do. All right? And I want a statement for the record. I want to clearly explain the district's financial situation, and I think I did that today, using documented numbers and audit information, because this directly affects our responsibility of taxpayers, employees, jobs, security, and more important, students now and in the future. I've already discussed the fund balance changes. I've told you that we've already had a starting fund balance last year at $85,519,797. And Dr. Rivera showed you today that has dropped to $71,109,255. And you know that the difference is a salary overage. That means that you did have a deficit, okay, in your budget. I mean, you had a deficit budget and you had an overage. That's plain and simple. And at the time, we've been told as trustees since July, when I brought it up, that it did not exist, it was not there, that we did not need to do a forensic audit, that nobody had heard of any outcries or anything of that nature, of any type of fraudulent activity or manipulation or misrepresentation of the budget, allegedly. I've discussed that payroll overage and the impact that it's had, because we've already spent 8 months, right, waiting to be told by an audit firm about last year. And that in itself, I mean, is really ridiculous. There's no other word to use other than that, right? As a board of trustees, right? Especially across the Rio Grande Valley, okay? And the whistleblower information, all right, allegedly. It has been stated that employees allegedly raised concerns to administration prior to last year and again prior to this year. According to those statements, which the majority of you, like Ms. Usaita has said, have received, especially from one whistleblower themselves, documentation such as emails and records exists, and allegedly documented level 1 and level 2 grievances like which I've told the community are like public, small little court sessions with attorneys present from the employee and the district, okay, took place. And at that time, prior to this year's budget being brought to us, prior to us approving it, and these individuals were making outcries that we were going to continue to deplete our savings, our fund balance, and we were going to march our district into state intervention if we did not turn the tide, if we did not change our actions. And we continued to spend, and we continued to hire staff. There's staff on the agenda for tonight. This is all after announcements of pulling back stipends because money wasn't there, and then announcing before Christmas that staff may be let go. The financial impact and decisions and lack of transparency, like I told you, have caused us to waste valuable time. A report that would only have taken us 20 days has been delayed 8 months, okay? Because the superintendent has and his administration at the time had continuously come with presentations telling us otherwise. Those are facts. Those are recorded. Those are on YouTube. Those are in sessions. The current financial reality that we face, as far as the numbers that have been showed to us, at the beginning of this year, we're down to $52 million in our unreserved fund balance. You gave out almost $3 million, as stated by Mr. Buttermer at the meeting. There was about maybe $2.8 million with benefits in stipends in December, okay? And it was a difficult decision for the board at the time. Why? Because it was right before Christmas. And staff had already spent monies, and there was outcries to all these trustees. And the failure to act and the failure of transparency because of someone else shouldn't impact households across our district, okay? And the fact is, I'm telling you, is that you cannot say that you don't have a debt in staffing and that it's somehow going to disappear without letting go of staffing. It's just universal. So the new year outlook, so how do we look at, I'm looking now, like he said, not just this year, but next year, 26, 27. You're going to take an impact this year. It's going to lower that 49 million down even lower. Estimates out there by the whistleblowers is at least maybe in the 8-digit range. And it's only logical if you had $14 million last year in an overage, it's even higher this year because you gave raises at the direction of the superintendent, okay? You're going to continue to drop the fund balance to critical lows, and we have to avoid actions that can make this worse as well. Selling district land would strip from the taxpayers millions of dollars. Imagine if I told you, let's sell land to take care of a debt that's going to continue to recur. That is not the answer. And rezoning may make an impact. I'm not saying that it is, but it may make an impact on parents if we force them to move from the campuses that they currently are at. They may choose to go somewhere else, creating an even larger financial burden on our district and jeopardizing the jobs of more staff, okay? My closing statement is this, and this is my closing statement. The board made decisions based on the information presented at the time. The current audit findings show that information was not complete. Our responsibility now is to acknowledge the financial reality, stop actions that worsen the situation, protect taxpayers, students, and staff, and ensure full transparency going forward. These are documented financial facts, not personal accusations, so therefore I am calling for a special board meeting next Monday, January 26, 2026, and it can only be called if one trustee supports me. If there is no meeting, that means that there was no support to call it. I am going to ask for 2 agenda items, okay? The second agenda item can be discussed, but the first one, I really do want it on the agenda. The first one is to approve the Weaver quote so they can get started as soon as possible, because we need to act quickly so that we can take proactive measures once we get results. And you've heard it already here from the individuals that work with them from the business office in the budget department that they're requesting help. The second item, which is something that I can discuss with the board president and maybe feel out the other trustees. It's very difficult because as a board member, I still feel for retaliation politically and by the administration against my family and friends who work in Weslaco ISD. But to them, I say that I'm sorry, because you are not more important than 2,500 families of staff and taxpayers, and more importantly, 16,000 students. So the second agenda item that I'm requesting is for executive session. And that is for the board, for the discussion to authorize the board president, myself, and possibly another trustee of your choice to begin searching for an interim superintendent that has specific experience in the reduction of force process, okay, and this specific situation. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
I can't be here on the 26th.
Okay.
I have a board meeting in PSJ.
Okay. And Mr. Castillo mentioned that, waiting to get the final Region 1 audit, we can have a special board meeting and we can vote on it. the majority of the board members that can be here, and we'll take it for a vote.
But
And
I want to clarify, Region 1 audit, but is Region 1 doing the 25-26 accounting right now, Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes, they
In conjunction with who? Right.
With us.
Okay, but is that going to answer the questions as far as the who, what, when, where, and why, and the responsibility and accountability to report to the board?
No, sir. They're
Okay.
only going over the financials.
That's just numbers.
Correct.
Thank you. I just want to clarify that.
Are they supporting your staff? They're supporting your staff and the work needs to be done?
No, they're just going over the financials that were presented by the previous CFO. They're going over all of those numbers in detail.
Yes.
okay, and on your what you mentioned, Mr. Los Santos, we wanted to know what the estimate was going to be first. You know, that's why it was a discussion item to see, because we didn't know when they were going to provide. How much?
Well, we said, to clarify, because the meetings are recorded, we said that we were going to wait to see if there was actually a overage of staffing from 24-25. That has been presented already to
Right.
the community. While you have staff here that were denying it for the last 8 months, we are a board of trustees that are supposed to be financially responsible, and we cannot choose a few over 2,500 employees.
Right, but
We
what I'm
need to-
saying is, the forensic audit, we were waiting for the estimate from Weaver to
Oh,
see
yes.
how much it was
And
going to
we have
cost.
that.
Yes, now we have it. Now we can proceed.
Right,
At
with a vote.
for the vote when the special board meeting.
And if we need to move it to a Tuesday, I mean, I don't know if everybody wants to be here or not.
We'll have Ms., our board secretary, poll the
Or what?
board members.
What's that?
I got PSJ Monday, STC Tuesday.
Well, we'll do it Monday then.
Arizona Wednesday.
We can do it Monday. Those that want to show can show, and that's fine with me. But I
As
just
long-
want to put it to a vote.
As long as we have a quorum, then we can vote on it. If we don't
Okay.
have a quorum, we can't vote on it.
I hope we do. Okay. All right.
Mr. Eloy, can you explain why there was no action on this item? Because he said I didn't take action. Can you explain?
I received a call from the board member requesting this item. I called the board president, that an individual had requested this item, and I told him that we couldn't post it because the posting had already lapsed.
Correct.
I told Mr. Nieto, I got case law that I sent to the individual that wanted this item posted. If you wanted to change this, you can't do it. You can't do it while it's been posted. There was a case on point. Mr. Nieto said, "Eloy, can you go ahead and send me that?" I said, "Yes." I told Mr. Nieto also, "Look, I'm not charging for this research. I was doing it for my own goodwill, to know that I was right with the law." But I sent them a copy of the case law.
Correct.
Is that correct, Mr. Nieto?
Correct. And again,
and the reason I reached out.
But there was no action. There could not have been action because he said that I didn't put action.
I asked for discussion and action.
That's
So
what
we
I'm
had
saying.
discussed that when we met with
It could not
Weaver.
have been done.
you did ask for that, but again,
But that's fine. We'll
hold
have
on.
a special board meeting. but-
We hadn't met with Weaver, and he had provided the estimate until just recently. So, you know, we couldn't do the action until we knew how much the estimate was going to be. And then we could vote on it.
I got the text message of the Weaver quote prior to the window closing for the agenda item. It was sent to me. You texted it to me.
Okay.
And it was before the window.
Okay.
It was only the day of when I saw that it was posted, then I said, "Hey, sir, this is wrong," because it's supposed to be discussion and action. Because why would we meet here to discuss something when in December we voted that we get a quote and then come back and vote on it?
And again,
But that's fine. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, just other than we would have voted today because people in the public had asked me, what is taking so long, or why are you guys just going to discuss again? And I said, it wasn't my.
Waiting for the estimate, the final estimate.
Okay.
And then I even told you, if we have to have a special board meeting, we will have a special board meeting.
And I just want to say, I am going to be requesting it. I'm going to request a special board meeting today. I'm going to reach out, or if somebody wants to publicly announce that they support me, because you just need 2 board members to request it. Now, if we don't have a quorum, that's fine, okay? I mean, the public will see who shows and who doesn't show. So, thank you.
Okay. All right, let's continue. 11, discussion and possible action to sell the Pete Abrigo facility to the city of Weslaco. Dr. Rivera.
Yes, recommend approval.
All right, do we have a motion to sell the Pete Abrigo facility to the city of Weslaco? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Castillo to approve And I know Dr. Rivera presented the amount, how much the land was going to be sold for, right? And the appraisal value. So do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Ben Castillo, second by Dr. Jaime Rodriguez, to sell the Pete Abrigo facility to the city of Weslaco. Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you go first.
No. I was.
Go ahead.
I'm real estate, right? Everybody says you don't give up real estate and you don't sell real estate. But my question is here, though. I know that initially the city had reached out that they wanted to do a swap and a trade. I understand that now we've identified that the property at Central, that corner on Illinois and 6th Street belongs to us. Great.
Right.
That's outstanding. But even then, like I said, you know, it's just a rule of law. You know, as companies don't give up real estate, all right? McDonald's isn't McDonald's because of the burgers they sell. It's because of the land they own, all right? And so my question is, I'm okay. It's just real tough. That's Westgate, right? And you got elementaries there, future growth, pre-K 3-4 campus. I mean, you never know, but would the city still be inclined if we were, because all they wanted was for us to gift them about half an acre so they can build the fire station and police substation, right? To provide those extra services for the community, which I think was a fabulous idea. So are we sure that they're going to use it for a recreational park and center? Like that's for sure in the books? Like as part of this deal and sell?
Yes.
It's going to be a park for the community and whatnot?
Yes.
They presented to Dr. Rivera in the cabinet on a couple of occasions.
Okay. And I think under those conditions, I think it's outstanding. I think the first phase of it, expanding those services to the community there. And then if they do a park, then I'm all for it because that's still a benefit for everyone.
Yeah, and
So
the fire department, especially for the neighborhood area and the schools that we have over there.
It's outstanding.
Their ability to be there within a couple of minutes.
Definitely. No, okay. I just want to clarify that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other, before we vote on it, any other discussion? Coach Serna, anything? No. Dr. Jaime? You made your motion, okay? Jackie? Ms. Ustaita?
No, I'm good.
So we have a motion by Mr. Ben Castillo and second by Dr. Jaime to sell the Pete Abrigo facility to the city of Wesco. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 11B, discussion and possible action to approve an agreement of consultant services with Dr. Cinto Ramos Group LLC for Lone Star Governance. Dr. Rivera.
It's a board item, if you want to approve it.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Susaita, second by Mr. De Los Santos. Any discussion?
No, I just find it very positive and beneficial for our community, our district, to focus with Lone Star Governance on academics and kids. It's brought us to a great point.
Yeah. Okay. It's a great program, and he does an outstanding job. And I agree with Ms. Ustaita. It's just something that we have to continue to do. Okay.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Closed meeting, item 12. Discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation of contracts for certified professional, non-certified professional, and non-contractual personnel. 12A2, discussion regarding resignations, retirements of certified professional, non-certified professional, and non-contractual personnel. 12B, consultation with attorney regarding Texas Government Code Section 551071, pending or contemplated litigation, settlement offer, matter in which the duty of the attorney of the Wesco Independent School District under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State of Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code 551071. And 12B4, pursuant to Section 551071 Texas Government Code, consultation with legal counsel regarding cost number C402621A, Melva Segura versus Weslaco ISD in the 92nd Judicial Court of Hidalgo County, Texas. It is 8:20 and we go into executive session. It is 8:44, and we reconvene an open meeting. Possible action necessary on items discussed in closed meeting. 13B, discussions possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation of contracts for certified professional, non-certified professional, and non-contractual personnel.
You have the list, recommending approval?
There was only one, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Move to approve?
Yes, it was on retirements.
Yes. We have a motion by Dr. Jaime, a second by? Do I have a second? No second. So, no action.
Can we table it?
Motion died.
Motion dies, okay. 13C, discussion of possible action regarding resignations, retirements of certified professional, non-certified professional, and non-contractual personnel. Dr. Rivera.
You have the list, recommending approval?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Castillo, second by Mr. De Los Santos. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 13D, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding cost number C 402621A, Melba Segura versus Weslaco ISD in the 92nd Judicial Court of Hidalgo County, Texas. Dr. Rivera.
Recommend no action, discuss in closed session?
So, no action. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. It is 8:45, and we adjourn.
So moved.